Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, the return of the formidable Matt Shears. Not really. Like we talked about last week, AC and Max are in Africa hunting, and so, you know, when we mix up, add some bodies, get some voices, get some opinions, talk about things, prove to that Brian guy that me and Matt are actually buddies. So we're almost in agreement at gmail.com. Find us on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube. Go to our website, almostinagreement.com. While you're there, you can check out my Voter Guide 22. It's got links to all the interviews that I've done with all the candidates that I could, as well as links to KGIS, Knox County Election Commission. It's too late to register if you haven't, but you can still double check, make sure you know where you're going on Election Day. It's early voting. It's going on now. Or you can wait and be that asshole like me and wait till Election Day and make those election workers get after it. Plus, it doesn't give the Dems a false sense of hope because there's more people voting in early elections and they're usually Democrats. So I want to be real with them. So anyway, we're almost in agreement. Sam's on the phone with us. He didn't feel like putting pants on, and I don't blame him. I didn't want to put pants on either, but Matt showed up at my house, so you know,
with pants,
human decency and whatnot. So here we go. It's showtime. Oh, Sam Alama, how are you, my friend?
I'm doing all right. How we doing?
Good. I'm bummed you're not here in the flesh, but I'm glad you're still here on the phone with me because I love talking to you. You're my favorite person I'm not married to or shares my DNA. How's that? Well, actually, you're above a couple people that share my DNA, but not the little ones, the old ones. Like, had a weird weekend with my parents. Anyway, we'll go into that in a second. Matt, buddy, how's it been? I haven't talked to you in person in many moons.
Yeah, it's good to be back. First I would like to thank Seth for his hospitality. I walked in and he asked if I liked red or white wine, and he gave me my own bottle of white wine. Sutter Home Family Vineyards.
Don't oversell it. It's
vintage 2021, I believe. And here I'm gonna open it right now, and I'm gonna open it close to the microphone. You can hear.
Yeah, congratulations, everybody. You heard that.
Yeah. So yeah, doing well. I think your listeners know I have a son, but I've been on here since that happened. He's got 2 little teeth, and last time I was on, I had COVID. I do not have COVID this time. So
okay, so that reminds me. So first time you were on by yourself after we did the first party chair show with Randy. First time I heard you on yourself, it was. I think you were the first episode since I got my green screen, so I was playing around with it.
Oh yeah.
And you sent me the peanut picture.
Oh yeah, me in Plains, Georgia. Yeah.
Right. So for President Carter, right?
Yep, President Carter.
I've heard more comparisons of Obama to Carter in the last 2 weeks than I think I've heard of any president ever compared to Carter.
Obama and Carter?
No, I'm sorry, Biden. Whatever.
They compared Obama to Carter. They compared Bill Clinton to Carter. Every Democratic president since Carter has been.
Because Carter was the last Democrat to not get consecutive. Okay, so it's running in. Okay.
Yeah.
Is he going to run again?
Joe Biden?
Yeah. I know you don't like
last time I spoke to him, he seemed like he was going to run again. Yeah.
All right. So
I do not know Joe Biden. I like Joe Biden. I know people who know Joe Biden, but I have no.
I bet I know people that know Joe Biden too. Yeah. That's like, it's a pretty low standard to bear there, I think. So, okay, so that makes sense now that you said it, because I get it, because it just started popping out in a couple of different podcasts I listened to. Mm-hmm. You know, it's like Carter had the really low, approval ratings and this, that, and the other.
Well, for approval ratings, go and look at this time with Obama's approval ratings, and this time with Bill Clinton's approval ratings. I mean, Bill Clinton was almost in worse shape than Joe Biden is now, and Bill Clinton was heavily reelected 4 years later. So and to be fair, we do the same thing to Republicans. 2 years in, we say, "Oh gosh, look at Bush."
A decade from now, it's going to be
for Trump. I think it panned out to be true.
Right. I was saying, in a decade, it's going to be this is as bad as Trump was in 2019 or whatever.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I get what you're saying. That's interesting. I didn't think about it that way, because the other one,
George H.W. Bush. We don't really. That one was a fluke in 1992 because that's Ross Perot.
Yeah. The real question to me is because the other part that they float out with the Carter conversation is whether whichever the Kennedy that tried to primary him,
Ted Kennedy,
really did real damage or whatever. Like that was
he did.
Would somebody primarying Biden this next go around do damage to Biden's ability to beat Trump again? Because it's looking like it's going to happen.
Yeah, I would say so. I mean, if for a sitting president, as someone who's as a local party leader, it would not be good for the party if there was someone who primaried a sitting president. But it didn't work out with Ted Kennedy. It hasn't worked out with Republicans in the past. It's just not it's kind of a fool's errand to do. But that also is 2 years from now, 2.5 years, and
right.
Politics changes every day.
I agree with the second part of that sentence, but 2 years from now is nothing. I mean, the leaks out of the Trump camp are already talking about his plan to announce it like November 15th or something like that, mid-November, as soon as the midterms pass.
But the RNC probably told him to shut up till after this election.
Well, and I think, because he ever listens to that. And then the other side of it is there's been conversation, some Biden aides have talked about first of the year they'll announce.
Oh, really? I haven't read that.
I've heard that a few different places.
Yeah. Well, I mean, sitting presidents are always constantly fundraising. I mean, Joe Biden's fundraising for his campaign right now. So.
And then he's flying over to Saudis to kiss some Saudi ass, try to get some oil back.
Well, gas prices are going down.
Did he
for 25 days.
Did he or did he not promise on the campaign trail to treat Saudi Arabia like a pariah state?
I believe he did. He say that directly?
I believe he did.
Okay. Next time I talk to him, I'll ask him.
I know. You're very clear that you don't care that much about national stuff. Not care, but it's not the fun stuff. Right.
I think local politics is more fun to kind of analyze and discuss than national, because you really get to know the personalities of the people. I mean, you know pretty much every elected official almost on a personal level around here.
I'm getting there. Yeah. I don't know. So. Last week, we ran into each other at the candidate forum.
Oh, yeah.
Which, for all intents and purposes, was a fully Democratic candidate forum. It was, 3 independents of 7? But I think Oakley would identify, if was forced to answer, she would identify left.
I don't know.
It doesn't matter. I mean, I love the idea of independent, so if I were in 7, I'd probably vote for Oakley just because I like the idea of the independent.
Mm-hmm.
But, for me, Jackson was the only one that said anything different. In that whole thing, Jackson. He's the only one that didn't say the same thing everybody else was saying about everything.
Yeah, I didn't stay very long, so
that was before you got there.
Yeah,
I did find your post. I almost called you out on your post. About
which post?
You posted about having been there, and I was like, showed up late and left early.
I got a baby at home. I did. Did you see that cat thing though? That was really cool. This was at the Unitarian Church here on Kingston Pike. And on top of the organ, there was a statue of a cat, which was really cool.
Yeah, random wooden carved. Yeah. I thought it was an owl when I first saw it, and then I had to recheck your picture to make sure I wasn't crazy.
Cat. But yeah, that was illegal. I really thought that Will Edwards would show up. He showed up to the first one, and this one was in District 4.
Yeah.
But he didn't show up. I don't know what that is. The Republicans, to their credit, did show up to the county commission forum. Kim Frazier, who's the person running 7, Rhonda.
Yeah. Why does she need to show up to anywhere?
Yeah. So good for her. And then Gina, so those 3 Republicans showed up. Larson didn't. I don't know where he was.
Larson's not a Republican. No, I'm just kidding. I don't care. It doesn't matter.
Let me go on record as Larson J is definitely a Republican.
All right. Well, if the Democrat says so, that means it's a lie, which means he's not a Republican. If you're that far right. If you're far enough.
What's that movie, Inception?
This is some high level math. You're right. I'm trying to think, okay, so I'm curious did you follow this? Did you watch City Council last Tuesday?
Which one was that? Was that where they had the charter amendments and such?
No, that was the prior meeting to that. That's an interesting one too. I'm finding myself aligning with Amelia on a number of recent topics, at least in her.
Mm-hmm. Has she been on the show before?
Yeah, I met her a couple times.
Okay, nice.
Yeah, at least once or twice, but I need to get her back on. Because some of these current ones, I think you can't drop 15 charter amendments at the last possible meeting to get it in there and try to squeeze them all through. But I'm curious on the budget stuff. The budget stuff is weird. Mm-hmm. The way the city budget works is weird. Mm-hmm. And to have a council or commission that's supposed to dig through it and look for issues and kind of be the backstop against the mayor going crazy, they have 10 days, 14 days? It's not much. I mean, apparently it is standard that they always call a special session to have their first reading, which is the mandatory passage reading that's in the state or in the city charter. You have to pass it on first reading, but that's usually a special called one so that the next standard city council meeting they can vote on the budget.
Okay. I kind of remember that back in, what was it, November? I think it was November, yeah. No,
that was like
November.
That was like back in May.
November was the stadium vote.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was just a couple
everyone
ago.
was like all talking about, and now it's like nobody's talking about it.
I was reading, there's a New Sentinel article that was weird about it, that they were talking about who's going to make up the difference, because construction costs are still going up, and labor's going up, and all this different stuff, and it's like, what are we talking about here? The deal that I understood was that city, county, collectively, with the state contribution and all that stuff, 74.5 or 0.4 million, that's it. Whether it costs $76 million to build the whole thing, or $110 million to build the whole thing.
Does Randy have to cover the rest?
That was my understanding of it when I talked to the different people at play. Okay. And now Welch is skipping town, so I don't know. Going home.
They were talking about like the interest rates could be going up, but I would assume, that general cost was already factored into whatever loan. I don't think you do like a year-to-year loan.
Yeah, I thought that the kind of inflation costs or whatever was packed into the original thing. But anyway, so that was the story of the News Sentinel? I thought the only thing the News Sentinel wrote about was what's his name, Clayton's helicopter crash. That's five facts you need to know about Jim Clayton's helicopter crash.
I mean, that has been a hot topic. I mean, they do sneak a few actual local news stories in every once in a while, and so when we get a taste, we got to get after it.
I'm just wondering about what are the next 5 facts about Jim Clayton's helicopter crash.
I mean, I don't know. I don't like.
Also, how many stories can they write about the food hall and the people leaving the food hall?
That's an interesting one to me.
It was interesting, the first story.
I mean, the newer story on it, like some of the quotes from whatever the owner or manager of the one that the most recent one that's left is, it's like it's a weird concept.
Yeah, it kind of feels like a mall food court.
It is. It's exactly the same concept.
It's not as cool of a vibe as I thought it would be.
And it's like, and as the actual restaurant inside there, what are you getting for it? Theoretically, you're going to get access to more customers and not have to have the big footprint. And you have a communal dining room and that kind of stuff, which makes it a little easier. But you're also 3 feet from competition. So it's like, so bonus is I have access to people. Negative is those people have access to the person right next to me, and right next to me isn't a door over. They don't have to go outside and go back in. It's literally right next to me.
It was all pretty pricey too,
right. And as I understand it, I mean, I would imagine it's fairly expensive for them. I don't know. Like, I get the impression that they were doing that weird, like, it's a fixed rent and a percentage of sales, or it's a percentage of sales as long as it beats the fixed rent.
Yeah,
it's something weird like that, and so it's like if you're having a rough go at it, it's expensive to rent the place. If you're doing well, percentage wise, it's not as expensive, but it gets more expensive the better you do. And it's like, well, that's not really a great incentive for that restaurant to really push to the maximum of their capabilities.
Yeah. Well, all that to say, first article interesting, second article pretty interesting.
Right.
Now it's like, come on, cover something else.
Right. Then there's plenty to cover.
There's been zero local campaign coverage. And I really respect and like Tyler Whetstone, but he got moved to just doing investigative reporting or something, so he does long form journalism. But that has left a total vacuum for any sort of local campaign coverage. And the only people who write about it are Victor Ash and Georgiana Vines, and they just get published once a week or once every 2 weeks.
It's super opinion-y trash. Personally, I mean, opinion's fine. I'm not complaining about opinion. That's the entirety of this show. But as far as a source for me to go, who do I need to vote for? It's as a specifically opinion column. Like as a point, I will say who I will plan to vote for, but I'm not going to say anybody of who you should or shouldn't vote for. I'm not going to speak of anybody in a way that's like. You need to you should do your batting average for victories on who you voted for. But I'm not voting for winners. That's not what I'm trying to do.
Yeah, I know, but
I'm voting for the right person.
How much does your vote align with the electorate?
Yeah, I suppose. I just feel like it'd be like the worse I do is probably the better in my head, as far as a batting average. Like I want to have a pitcher's batting average, not a left fielder.
Okay, yeah.
I'm saying we could go, I was going to throw it out there as something to do, is we can go down the ballot.
I'm a Democrat in Tennessee, so my batting average would be pretty low.
Yeah, I might beat you. But I mean, again, it's like, but then I'm a fool for competition, and so I might find myself trying to pick the winner instead of picking who I think I want to actually have.
True.
That's not true. I'm I can walk and chew gum at the same time. But I'm interested to see this thing roll out. I'm interested. I'm not happy with 18. I'm just not. There's. I know your boy Greg is. He's decent, but I'm not happy with any of the.
You were a big Eddie fan, weren't you?
I did like Eddie.
Yeah.
Because I think as far as
they treated him terribly.
Well, sure. I mean, because he's not. I mean, he is a rhino, and like if I were smarter back in the day, first time I had him on, it wasn't a lie, but like it was a dumb thing that he said to me, and I should have called him out on it.
Yeah.
It's like who gets to decide who is and who isn't a Republican? The Republican Party, Eddie. That's how it works. That's what I should have said, but I didn't know that at the time, and so I was like, I don't know who. I mean, if you say you're Republican, I guess you're Republican. So.
Yeah.
But no, that's not the case. Kaz was fun. That guy's great.
He's cool. I like.
I'm actually like, other than him leaving his weird bag of chew here.
He has a bag of chew. What?
Yeah, he chews tobacco.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, okay. So like he was sitting in that chair and he gets up. And
he's a great guy. I love Kaz.
He's fun.
I asked him to run for office.
And then he doesn't listen to you on his Facebook page? I get it.
No. And he just like went all in. He went all in. So he's a great guy. I love him. He's good. He's a cool guy. And he's got such a fascinating background, too.
He does. Like I told him, I was like, I need to do...
He needs to write a book.
Right. We need to do a podcast of his... Of specifically that weird... what was it, Missouri?
No, Kansas. Yeah, the Colt.
The Kansas
and he got sued. Well, I guess he talked about it on the podcast.
Lawsuit,
He got sued, went to the Supreme Court. You should do like a special Kaz episode every once in a while.
Well, I'll wait till after
a couple times a year.
I'll wait till after the election and see what happens. I mean, I don't know. Again, that was interesting to me because like,
he would be a good like liberal voice to come on every once in a while.
Nah, he's a little too.
He's a former Republican too.
I don't know what that. Who? Okay.
Everybody around here is a former Republican.
Right. It's like Victor Ashe.
Victor's still a Republican.
No, he's not. Okay.
He donates to Tim Burchett.
So like Victor Ashe to me is a higher profile Brian Hornbeck. He has a very specific list of people who he likes and a very specific list of people who he doesn't. And he will spend the entirety of his entity promoting who he likes and throwing shade at who he doesn't. And it doesn't matter. It's not a party affiliation game. Because, I mean, Hornbeck somehow likes Dylan. Dylan. Is that right? I'm just blanking out.
Yeah, Dylan. He likes Dylan.
Yeah.
Seems to be. I don't know. I haven't asked him.
I don't know if it's because Dylan's buying ad space. I didn't check his blog whether or not there's ad space on there or not. But that's fine. And I have no issues and Victor's welcome to do that, as is Hornbeck. He's welcome to do that. But as far as am I going to trust your opinion on the story if you clearly state the biases?
He writes an opinion column.
Yeah.
Georgiana's column's not opinion, though.
I'm curious.
Hers is just news.
I'm curious if there's any obligation for Hornbeck if he wins the state executive committee seat. If he has any obligations in this blog journalism that he does as a state executive.
I thought he was already a state executive.
He's interim or whatever right now.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
He's filling in for
who's running. Who else is running for that?
Randy's running for it. I don't know if it's the same.
Oh, right. Wasn't Kyle Ward going to run for it or something?
I think I saw Kyle Ward on the list too. Let's see here.
I think he dropped out.
State executive man 6 is Jack Vaughn for your Jack Vaughn's 5.
5. Yeah.
Sorry, Hornbeck, Sam Maynard, Randy Pace, and then Mark Siegel is your one by himself.
Yeah, Mark. He's a good guy. You should have Mark on sometime.
I don't care. I don't care what is an executive committee like? Why?
Have him on and explain it. Do it after the election.
Yeah.
In your low season.
I'm going to vote for Randy because I like Randy.
So you're going to vote in the Republican primary?
Of course I am. Okay. So what? Okay. So in this 80-point ballot that we have coming up, how many Democratic primaries? Well, actually, I don't know because
gubernatorial.
The gubernatorial is a good one.
Yeah.
Sam, which primary are you pulling?
Undecided.
You can actually, Sam, you could just vote a general ballot, and then you don't vote in either party's primary. You just vote in the county general election.
It's always an option.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can just not take the primary.
Yeah, you can just not take the primary.
When they ask like, which primary do you want? You just say I don't want a primary, and then you just go to the general. I was talking to my mom about it today too. It's like, not my mom. Anyway, somebody my mom's age.
Data shows that most of those ballots actually vote for Democrats.
What, the primaries?
Just the general ones. Like if somebody just pulls a general ballot, they have a higher likelihood of voting for Democrats.
Because they're not going to pull. What's the point of pulling a Democratic ballot? Because this one's different. I get it. I want to know.
Anyway, okay. State executive. So there's 3 people running for state executive committee.
For 6, yeah.
Have they been going at each other? Why are they all running?
No, I don't know. I mean, Randy wanted that seat when they appointed it.
Sam Maynard. That sounds familiar. Tim Hutchinson.
Yeah, there's a couple. Like Sam McKenzie's. No, that's state rep seat.
No. Yeah. So we don't have any primary. You know, Virginia's running for state executive committee woman in your district, District 6.
6, yeah.
No, sorry, District 7. She's in District 7.
She is now.
I like her.
She was.
She's great.
Well, yeah, I don't know where the House
District 7.
Where the House and the Senate state run a.
Yeah, there she is, Virginia Couch, state executive committee woman.
Yeah, get it, Virginia.
Yep, there we go.
I like Virginia. She's fun.
Yeah, she'll do a good job. You should have her on sometime to talk about executive committee stuff.
Maybe. Yeah, that'd be more fun. She was more fun to talk to. Mm-hmm. I mean, I could talk. I don't know. I could talk to Randy about it. I've tried to get Hornbeck on a couple times.
Well, what they do is a little different than ours. Theirs is a little bit more contentious.
Well, because there's more value in what they're doing. No offense.
Wow.
I mean, they have more candidates to deal with because realistically, they have more impact on what's going on because they have the.
See, I would argue the opposite is because, in my understanding, like the local county party has a hard time raising money because why would you give money to them? It's a Republican, quote unquote Republican county. Why would you give them money?
Oh,
quote unquote Republican state. Why would you donate money to the state party?
Fair. So did you ever go down the post where how I got in trouble for? I got half kicked out of the angry educators group.
I read a little bit of it, but then I had other stuff to do. So
why don't you spend your entire life focusing?
I'm trying to get people out to the polls.
On talking to me. Where'd that go? I wanted to send this to Sam so he could see it, and for conversation's sake. All right,
That's all right.
Incoming. It's not about it's not the Facebook one. This is one that Matt shared with me and he wanted to talk about. Because I'm curious about it myself.
The Glenn Jacobs tweet today?
Yeah, so Mayor Glenn Jacobs, he tweeted, he was at Freedom Fest this weekend.
What is Freedom Fest?
It's a libertarian festival.
I thought he was a Republican.
I don't know.
Some days he's a Republican, some days he's a libertarian.
But
where's Freedom Fest?
It was in Florida this year.
Okay. Freedom Fest. It sounds like something I would like to go to.
It's pretty good. I mean, the premise is pretty cool.
I think we should burn books.
Fair enough. But anyway, Glenn Jacobs tweeted out, Democrats have won the lottery. Literally. A local multimillionaire lottery winner is dumping big money behind Tennessee Democrats to try to turn Knox County blue. We can't let that happen. Early voting is open, blah, 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 blah.
Wait, and then, hold on, read the last thing.
Please vote?
Yeah, it reminds me of Jeb Bush. Remember, please clap.
I don't remember that.
It's a meme.
I'm sure it is.
Please clap.
I'm sure it's an actual factual meme, but I don't know. Okay, so is there some guy locally that's won the lottery that's become...
one of our donors did win the lottery almost 10 years ago and has been donating to Democrats for many years. But I just think this is a funny tweet because I should have pulled it up before I got here. Just run down Glenn Jacobs' donor list. It's like 1,600 Bill Haslam, 1,600 Bill Haslam's wife, 1,600 Bill Haslam's son-in-law, 1,600 Bill Haslam's daughter, 1,600 blah 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 blah. It's like $1,600 from all these. I guess since we have one millionaire who donates to us instead of a billionaire, it's bad. We don't have a billionaire, but he's got all these $1,600 donations. It's just like this boogeyman. Like ooh.
Okay, so very early on in our
and let me tell you this: Glenn Jacobs donors. Debbie has more individual donors than Glenn Jacobs does. She's got like almost 1,000 individual donors. He's got like 300 people that'll max out $1,600 to him. Also, it's a ton of developers.
What? Okay, so all right, fine. We're going to stick on that one then because that one drives me nuts.
Yeah.
I don't get it. Why is developers bad? Why are developers bad?
Because they tell him what they want and he doesn't. Like he's getting. You should be upset about this as a libertarian. They're getting rid of the Board of Zoning Appeals process.
Why would my libertarianism make a difference to that conversation?
So,
because
somebody wants to come in, take a piece of land. Mm-hmm. They're gonna
take. Oh, hold on, take a piece of land? Like they're just gonna take it? Like what?
They buy a piece of land.
Oh, buy a piece of land. Okay,
they buy a piece of land.
Take and buy is a different thing. Just making sure.
And then they decide that the current zoning laws say that we should only put this certain amount of houses here, but we're just gonna stack whatever amount we want on there, and just screw what the professionals say that we should. And then you, as a local community, and you say, "Oh my gosh, no, we can't you can't do that. This road is people are gonna get wrecks. People are blah 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 blah, and then you go and you do an appeal process. Mm-hmm. And so now all these guys who max out $1,600 to Glenn Jacobs say, no, we don't want to deal with that pesky appeal process. Get rid of it.
Okay.
So what's Glenn Jacobs doing? Getting rid of the appeal process so that individual citizens can appeal these decisions.
So what was the consensus agreement on the removal? Because they ended up not removing it.
Removing what?
They have not removed the Board of Zoning Appeals.
No, it's up for vote next Monday. I think.
The compromise, as I understood it, was we're going to be really strict on when people appeal to it must be accurate within what the Board of Zoning Appeals can affect.
I don't know about that. I just know that they're
because
now actually
because one of the issues
compromise is they've changed it so that the developer can just pick which way they want to go.
One of the issues at play is that a lot of people in neighborhoods and stuff like that are appealing to the Zoning Board of Appeals on things that have no grounds inside the way the Board of Zoning Appeals is set up. Because the only thing that can be chosen upon...
Then the Board of Zoning Appeals can turn that down.
The only thing that can be chosen upon by Board of Zoning Appeals is the result of a use on review. It's not a zoning issue, it's a use on review zoning thing. It's a totally different animal. Do you know the difference between a use on review and a right... I can't remember what the other term is. There's use by right and use on review.
I will honestly say I am not familiar with the issue, but and there are many people who know more about it. But at the base issue, Glenn Jacobs didn't care about this until his donors told him to care about it.
Okay, that's fine. But let's clarify. Let's clarify at least the structure of the story here, so we understand. Okay. So use on review, by definition, is the land is zoned in a way that this could be available, but you have to run it through the process. It is zoned for the thing, but you have to go through this process. Where it's used by right is that it's a residential zone, you can just build a house on it. Mm-hmm. Right? And so the only time the Board of Zoning Appeals is supposed to apply is when the decision by the Planning Commission or County Commission or whomever on a use on review changes, or they don't like the result of it. And so by definition, the owner of that property has the right to do that, but it needs to be reviewed. Which is it just doesn't make sense to me, the idea of the use on review. And so maybe that's the thing we should be canceling instead of the Board of Zoning Appeals. But the use on review says, okay, so this neighborhood, or this zone of the county is zoned residential. It can have 6 houses per acre. Mm-hmm. You have 10 acres, you want to build 60 houses. But it's a use on review, so you have to go through a review process of that, even though you're following what the use already exists for. And then if the neighborhood doesn't like the fact that zoning said, okay, you can do what you're allowed to do here, that's when the BZA steps in. And so it's not about developers coming in and putting 10,000 houses in 10 square feet. It's about developers coming in and developing on what the property is zoned for. It just has this use on review clause that I don't understand why it's there in the first place.
It's my understanding that you have the planning professionals that work at the Knoxville Planning Office or Commission or whatever.
Okay.
That it used to be that the appeal process that they would do less than what the professionals said to do, and now it's changed where it's been stacked so that actually the appeals process will go further, or the Board of Zoning will go further than what the professionals say.
Okay,
again, I am not an expert on these issues. There are a ton of people who know a lot more about this. I am just saying...
Apparently, I'm one of them.
Yeah, you are. I am just saying that at the end of the day, Glenn Jacobs is running his mouth about some guy who's donating money to us with no strings attached, who's an individual citizen and he can do what he wants.
Right, I agree.
And meanwhile, he's getting maxed out donations from hundreds of people who are millionaires, not just millionaires, billionaires.
Okay.
That's my Bernie Sanders voice. Billionaires.
That's right.
So it's just funny to me that he would run his mouth like that. And also, it's just kind of a pathetic tweet, in my opinion. Please vote.
Okay. Okay.
Please vote.
I follow where you're coming from on this. I do. And I don't disagree with you on the premise that it's a stupid thing to complain about rich donors trying to do something when he has a bunch of rich donors.
Yeah.
I don't know, but the issue, I don't know. The issue I have is that that's the game.
Yeah. So what's he running his mouth about?
I agree. I don't see the point of it. I don't know why. Like I went off a couple episodes ago about him talking about gas prices. What the fuck are you going to do, Mayor Jacobs of Knox County, about gas prices?
That's at the end of the day, that is my frustration with our current county mayor. It's not that he's a Republican. It's that he just talks and runs his mouth about national issues all the time.
Well, okay, but you like Kaz.
Tim Burchett.
You like Kaz.
Tim Burchett. There were a ton of Democrats who thought he did a pretty good job as Knox County mayor, and you know what he didn't do? Run his mouth about national issues all the time. You got Glenn Jacobs, who sits in there, tweets on the clock, probably, 7, 8, 12 times a day about national issues.
All right, no, that's not fair.
He goes out and he films.
You chat with me on Facebook all the time when you're working, so don't give me that shit.
Yeah, I don't work I'm not the freaking Knox County mayor.
Okay, so all right, so then let me ask this question.
So, I mean, the amount of blatant national partisanship injected into local government by Glenn Jacobs is just preposterous.
Okay, I agree.
This whole thing about Hillary Clinton funding the mask lawsuit. Oh man, give me a break.
Give me a break. Oh goodness me. Oh golly gee. I get that you have.
I wouldn't complain about him as much if he just focused on local issues.
You have catered yourself well to issues that you know I don't like, is people talking about shit that isn't their job. You win.
I mean, that's all he does. And then he goes out to eat every Friday somewhere.
I know. Okay. I need to go have lunch with Mr. Jacobs.
Yeah, we need to send Debbie to one of those.
That'd be funny. I'll come by with my camera. My battery blew out. I don't know what's going on with it.
Okay.
I got a GoPro.
If Glenn is listening, or one of his staff members is listening, that's my problem with you guys.
I mean, but you like Kaz.
That's the other thing. His staff does politics on the clock all the time too.
But you like Kaz. I'm going to say that again.
Kaz is not an elected official.
No. But he runs it. But he runs his campaign page as if it were a national page.
He talks about the issues he wants to talk about. He's not an elected official, and he's not doing it on the clock. He's a retired man. He's a retired person. Does what he wants.
Okay.
If Glenn Jacobs was retired and just talking about whatever he wants all day, it's fine with me.
Okay, so that's something that Sam and I talked about a couple weeks ago, and I think it's an interesting. I think it's one of the interesting dives that I need to go on in my job description page. It's like, what are the hours?
Hours of what?
Of an elected official.
I mean, I don't think there's really necessarily hours, but if you're in your office and you're like tweeting about Hillary Clinton and locking her up, I mean, come on.
I don't know. I mean, what is he doing when he's at home at 7:30 watching Jeopardy? Is he tweeting about actual things that are within his job title? Is he taking phone calls and emails from other people?
I don't know,
is it a full-time job in the sense that it's a 9 to 5, or is it a full-time job in the sense that it's 24/7?
I don't think he should be meeting fans in his office and having his personal assistant schedule it and take pictures with him and autograph. Yeah, I don't think he should be doing it. I don't think a taxpayer-funded assistant should be scheduling appointments for fanboys to stop by and get their picture taken and talk to him and get an autograph.
I don't disagree that it's a little inappropriate, but at the same time, I would assume that there was nothing else going on at that time. Like I would assume it wasn't.
He says he's too busy to debate, but he can meet fanboys in his office anytime.
Anytime's a bit of a stretch. Was there a debate scheduled for 3 p.m. on the day that dude showed up?
No, I don't know.
I mean, you exactly. You can't say what was on his calendar and that he's too busy here and not too busy there. That's not fair.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying, like, I'm not here to defend him because he's a shit libertarian. That if we're gonna stay with are
libertarians supposed to be pro-choice?
That is just as debated inside libertarianism as anywhere else.
Okay.
Well. I think more often than not is it a pro-choice, but like my go-to libertarian thinker that I listen to on the regular basis is a pro-life libertarian.
Okay.
It is as contested inside the party as it is nationally.
Is there something in the platform about it or no?
I'd have to double check. I don't think so.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not familiar.
I mean, like I again, like this is one of those. I don't know. Sam, what's up, buddy? How you been?
Hey.
I don't want to go down an abortion argument again. I mean, I don't know.
Sam, do you think that taxpayer funded assistants should be scheduling fanboys to come in and take pictures and get autographs?
And I wasn't a fan to see that it happened. I mean, I could see it maybe it just happened to have some opening time. Mm-hmm. I don't think that someone should be able to have that close of access to someone, like day of, like morning.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, see, that's the thing too. It was like,
I don't know if it was just a pure photo op thing.
See, but I think that's what makes it make sense. Sorry, Sam.
Okay.
No, I mean,
you know what we should do, Sam? You should call tomorrow morning at 9:00 in the morning. See if you can get a meeting with the mayor at 3:00 in the afternoon.
But say you want to meet Kane, not Mr. Jacob.
No. We need to have someone call it and say they want to meet Kane, and then someone call and say they want to meet Mayor Jacobs, and see what the response is.
I mean, I was thinking to myself that like maybe if I said that I do a wrestling podcast, I might get him on the show.
Yeah. Go ahead, Sam.
No, so just keep his costume with him because I really want to meet Kane.
Yeah, we need to have Sam call and ask to meet Kane, and then we need to have someone else call and ask to meet Mayor Jacobs and see what the response is.
I mean, I ran into him at a Food City and gave him my card. I was like, hey, I need you to get on the show. I need to get on the show. And all he was talking about was my lordship. I was like, yeah, I bought it.
Are you a wrestling fan, Sam?
Nah, not really.
Okay.
When I was much younger.
Did you watch him when are you older than that?
I didn't really watch him as much. I think I got out of it before he started. I think when he came into it, I think I was still kind of watching it a little bit. More just to kind of like laugh at it. I'm like, this is just crazy.
Mm-hmm. So Sam, if you won the lottery, do you think you would donate to a couple political candidates that you like?
Probably not.
Really? Okay.
Why not?
To each their own.
Okay, maybe let's ask the question a different way. If you won the lottery, what would you do with your money?
I'd hold on to it for a minute.
What's your first big purchase? $100,000 donation to KCDP?
I mean, he can just burn...
KCDC?
No, KCDP.
We could just burn it. We could just come over and burn it in the backyard if you want. It'd be just as useful.
Sure. I mean, as far as like hold on to it and think about how to spend that money.
Well, that's what. Okay, but
Yeah.
I think that's what Matt's asking.
Not to
Is
have that knee-jerk reaction.
is once you settle down, take a breath and go, holy shit, got the taxes part covered.
Yeah.
What am I going to do with all this money? What are you going to do?
Probably buy land to build a house on.
I'm getting on that.
Mm-hmm. You have to go through the board of zoning appeals. I'm just kidding.
No, you just buy it. Duh. I guess that's when the donations start coming in.
If I won the lottery, you know what I would do? I don't know. I feel like I'm kind of with you, Sam. I feel like I would say, I'm not going to make any major decisions for like 2 months. I'm just going to sit, think about it for 2 months. I'd probably immediately hire somebody to like answer all the calls and stuff.
I would do, yeah. The first thing to do is hire a lawyer.
I would call Virginia Couch. I would immediately call Virginia Couch because she's an attorney and an accountant.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So get something like that lined up, and then I would do whatever I can to make sure that you don't know that I won a lottery. Not just you, Matt, but you as well. Just because
the thing about Tennessee is you can't. There's some states where you can anonymously accept it.
Yeah, Tennessee you can't. I hate I don't care. Libertarian.
Isn't there a big drawing tonight? Actually, isn't there like 530 million or something tonight?
I don't know.
Okay.
I hate the way we set that up as a state.
Really?
It's cool. Apparently,
who did that? Republicans or Democrats? It was probably Democrats back in the day.
Apparently,
we used
Tennessee
to run this state.
Apparently, Tennessee is like top 5 in the nation for graduate debt levels in the good side of it. So as far as kids that graduate from college,
yeah.
With the least amount or no debt, Tennessee is in like the top 5 in the nation.
Oh, interesting. Well, Tennessee Promise, things
right?
Like that, yeah.
And I mean, obviously the lottery scholarship being part of that. I would rather see Tennessee be like top 5 in the nation of high school graduates, and that money going there to help that process as opposed to secondary.
What are we in high school graduates?
I don't know exactly what we are, but in most, we are in the mid 40s in most K through 12.
Yeah, thank God for Mississippi, huh?
Categories, yeah. There's a couple states that are making sure we get the shit right or wrong or whatever.
Yeah.
But I mean, again, the number of times we talked around in Fierce and stuff, it's not a money issue.
Mm-hmm.
It's really not. I mean, yes, we were 40-something in spending.
I need to make a bingo board for your show, and that would be one of the bingo boards. Ron McPherson.
All right, so we'll go ahead and do Chris Davis. And there we go, get that one out of the way. Chris Davis would definitely be a bingo board. That would be fun. That's a good idea. We should put that on the Facebook page. Sam, get on that.
Bingo
Mega's
board.
bingo boards. That's hilarious. I like that a lot.
I just don't understand how political parties work. I just don't get it. I don't understand.
There you go. Yeah, that's another one.
Why can't why is it so hard to get a third party on the ballot?
I mean, that is not a real question. I know the answer to that, but
Yeah. I'm talking about bingo board.
right.
Yeah.
But for bingo board's sake, yeah. Something about it's dumb.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's dumb.
Compass, just mentioning Compass.
Sure.
Yeah.
I mean, well, you go
That's
back.
probably the free space.
Well, go back to what we were talking about earlier. Is you're talking about local election coverage. Who does it better than Compass?
Nobody.
I mean,
Nobody even else does it.
right? And those that dabble in it are more partisan than Compass is.
Yeah, like
Compass,
Knoxville Focus, Steve Hunley. I'm in there about every week now. Hey, Steve. It's your boy, Matt.
I would say, like,
He mentions me and mentions Jack by name.
Everybody-
He called Jack Jackie. Isn't that weird?
I don't know. I don't know what I like. There's a couple of names that have the weird set of like abbreviated versions.
Yeah.
And it's like
Anyway, go back. Let's go back. Let's go back before we go down another rabbit hole.
But
yeah. I mean, everyone else is a little slanted, like Knoxville Focus.
I mean, I think Compass has a little bit of slant, but they have the least slant as I read through stuff.
I mean, nobody else does what Compass does.
Right.
Yeah.
Not even close. Mm-hmm. And I'm super grateful to be a part of a portion of what they do.
Yeah. Good job with the podcast. I like it.
I appreciate it. I got to get the video stuff down better, but nobody watches it. Like, which we assume from the get go.
Yeah, I usually listen to it.
Most people don't watch it, but I'd like to get it more filmable.
Yeah.
I'm looking at.
Do they do it remotely or do they do it here?
No, they're here.
Oh, okay.
They do their interviews remotely.
They both don't live close to here, so good for you for getting them over here.
Well, because I dropped the green screen down and they're flying over Knoxville.
Nice.
That's what we do. But yeah, and it's unfortunate because it goes back to that. What do we do? How do we make better decisions as a public when we don't have good information?
No, I really think that people talk about like problems with democracy. I think one of the biggest problems with democracy is the downfall of local journalism. Because we see a nationalization of politics, and I think that's partly because of the downfall of local journalism.
I agree. I think it's a downfall of journalism at large. I don't think it's a local thing either.
Yeah, I think that I really think that journalism as an industry hasn't adapted to what the modern technological, but then also like postmodern environment that we live in.
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
that's a larger philosophical discussion. But you can probably talk to Jesse. You should have Jesse and Scott on to talk about like the future of journalism sometime.
I've talked to I've had them on.
You did talk about it. I remember one episode
Yeah.
you talked a little bit about it.
Yeah, and I've talked to them a little bit about it on separate episodes over time, and like how does this world work anymore?
Well, and think about if
and
Scott
really,
and Jesse
out.
weren't doing what they were doing and didn't start what they started. What would there be? There'd be nothing.
Right.
There'd be nothing.
And
think about the example with like the Steve Triplett
Okay,
thing.
no, hold on, time out.
Okay.
That is a great example. But what is the estimate that you see that you think is going to realistically happen in this August election? Like, what's the estimate? Total numbers.
Wait, total
votes.
years. Oh, total
no, I'm
votes.
not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Total votes in August.
Oh, it's going to be less than 2020. Probably less than 2018. That was a gubernatorial primary. Maybe 60, 70,000 total votes.
Okay, and they have like 2,000 subscribers.
Yeah, you're right. But I mean, it spreads. I mean, people hear things.
Sure,
on Compass,
but I mean, mathematically, 60. Let's round up to 6,000. 6,000 people have access to what indirect access or direct access to what Compass does. So
that's 1/10 of the people.
10%.
Yeah.
Right. 10% of the voting electorate has any chance of getting any in-depth knowledge about what's going on.
Yeah, you're right. It's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why some millionaire winner of the lottery sells.
Yeah.
Because again, that has been my thing. That has been the most frustrating, the most upsetting thing, the thing that I get most pissed off about, the thing that's on every bingo board is I don't give a shit about some fucking donor because it doesn't make a difference. It has nothing to do with the job. Mm-hmm. It's not what we are electing you to do. We're not electing you to go. You
and I have talked about this before, though. Is that like elections are different than governing?
Right.
It's just the system that we've set up to govern. It's flawed, but I can't think of anything better.
Right. I mean,
we can have a monarchy.
We could, or we could have what's the benevolent dictator?
Yeah.
That'll last a generation, maybe 2, if we're lucky.
Yeah, then he gets deposed. Or she.
Let's beat you.
Has there ever been a female dictator?
Sure.
Okay.
Probably South America. That'd be my guess.
Okay.
Despite the Catholicism in that.
Yeah. You know, speaking of South America, I always think it's interesting that, like, South American elections are, like, usually, like, some super far-right person versus, like, some socialist person. And whoever wins only wins by, like, a couple percentage points.
Yeah.
I think it's fascinating.
That's kind of what we're turning into.
I mean, that's a broad generalization that I probably shouldn't have made, but it's just kind of fascinating just to watch it a little bit.
Right, and it's one of those, like, can somebody just go down the middle and you're probably winning?
Yeah.
Like, realistically.
Well, another fascinating nation to watch the politics of is Israel. I mean, they've had 4 elections in the last 2 years. They're probably about to have another one.
I don't understand the parliamentary system. It confuses the shit out of me.
Yeah,
I know.
Here's a fun fact about me is that in my free time for fun, I follow Canadian politics.
I mean, we've talked about that before. Well, I mean, a current example is you got what's his face in England.
Boris Johnson, yeah.
Right, and who is stepping down.
I think we should have the Prime Minister's questions where they, like, yell and make fun of the Prime Minister and he yells and makes fun of them back. I think we should do that, except locally. Like, have Glenn Jacobs and the county commission.
Ever since I've seen that of, like, what the Prime Minister has to do, like, on at least, 2 or 3 times a week.
Yeah.
And
it's like they just get there and humiliate him.
Like,
yeah.
Right.
But the idea that he is stepping down through scandal and all sorts of crazy shit, but his party...
And everything he did is not as worse as things Donald Trump did.
But his party is still beat the vote of no confidence that just came through this week or last week. Mm-hmm. And so it's like, well, the tip top of your party's running away in shame, for lack of a better word, at this point. Mm-hmm. But the party's still cool.
Well, in a parliamentary system, you don't vote for the prime minister; you vote for the party.
Right.
So, like, that would be like Nancy Pelosi would be our prime minister.
Right.
No, you and I can't vote for Nancy Pelosi, but we can vote for a Democrat versus a Republican for Congress.
Yeah, I don't get it. Like, I truly don't get it.
I mean, it's just a different way. I mean, our system has flaws. Their system has flaws.
Yeah, I'm not trying to put a one over the other, but it's like watching cricket. Like I see that there's a sport happening. I just don't understand.
Wow,
what's
you
going
really
on.
Don't like British people, do you?
No, it's really. I don't like New Zealand. I don't like Kiwis.
I have family in New Zealand.
All right, well,
a little bit of Shears family history. James Shears, my grandfather's grandfather, was born in 1840 in London. He moved to New Zealand and had a family.
So you're a colonizer, okay?
Yeah, had a wife and a family in New Zealand. Owned a brick factory. Somebody died at the brick factory. He had a nervous breakdown. He left his wife and family, came to North America, had a wife and family in North Carolina. Was here for 2 years. Had 2 kids. Left them, went to England, had a wife and family in England too. So he had 3 wives, 3 families on 3 continents, no divorces.
This is the chair of your party, people.
James Shears, 1840.
It's a fun story.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I correspond with our New Zealand cousins every once in a while.
Yeah. All right. Well,
they didn't know about his family in America.
I pick a random country that plays cricket, and that happens to be that one. Perfect.
You really don't like New Zealand?
No, it's just throwing out some other country that played cricket.
Yeah.
Like, it could have been India, but then it comes to a racial issue, and I don't want to go that way. Yeah. What were we talking about? We're all over the map.
Boris Johnson, parliamentary system.
I don't know, yeah.
Canada has a parliamentary system, too. A lot of Western democracies have parliamentary systems.
Yeah. For sure.
And actually, whenever America goes and sets up a government, like in Japan or Iraq or Afghanistan, we always set up a parliamentary system, not a system like ours, which I think is interesting.
I do agree. I've heard that before elsewhere, and
we don't create a Senate. We skip that and just do a parliamentary system.
Yeah.
I don't know.
So what are your thoughts on this? What do they call it? I don't know. I just call it Big Brother, but it's the high tech control command center
or whatever. I don't know. I honestly have not read much about it. I know that there's a lot of people who are upset about it. Some people like it. My question is, well, I don't even want to start asking questions because I don't really know much about it.
Well, the one thing for me is that the conversation that's currently going on locally is the last city council meeting about it is not about whether they can or can't do it. Yeah. Because as of right now, they can.
Okay.
Now, Amelia's did bring up that she has some plans to introduce some some stuff to try to restrict what they can and can't do with it. But as of right now, it's just within state law they can do whatever they want as far as public camera systems kind of shit.
Do we have cameras now?
That's we have like 6 or 8 already.
Where are they?
Market Square, Gay Street, and like 1 or 2 in the old city.
Okay, I mean that kind of makes sense to me.
I mean, I guess, but I didn't see what they were talking about. They're having a meeting tonight, right, on the sound system.
No, there's not a city council meeting tonight.
They've got a special called one this week.
Before I came here,
they got one this week at some point, and it's explicitly only to talk about the sound monitoring system.
Oh, yeah, I saw
the noise ordinance.
I saw Andrew post or something about that. Yeah,
but anyway, so it's not at least locally speaking, what's going on right now. It's not a conversation about can KPD or can't KPD. It's KPD wants this building built specifically for the task.
Okay,
and that's what
and it was not in the budget before.
I don't know.
Okay.
Some of it was, some of it wasn't. I'm really confused on. I mean, because it goes into when
have somebody on to talk about it.
When the safety center was originally planned and all that stuff, and it was apparently it was
which is a number of years ago at this point. It was before Mayor Kincannon.
Yeah. And so it's I get the impression that it was not designed to be part of the safety center when it was originally passed, but it's something that was it previous mayor or not previous
Mayor Harrow?
No, previous chief Thompson. Thomas.
Thomas.
Yeah.
You've already forgotten her name. That's how fast politics goes.
I didn't forget her name. Thomas. Relax. Yeah. But Eve Thomas was already starting to work on this process before she decided to retire.
Yeah.
And so the real question, and I think Amelia Parker's made a good point. It's like, well, we need to look into what New Orleans is doing with it, because presumably that is what Noel wants out of it.
Well, I thought it wasn't Chief Noel that wanted it.
I mean, it's already in the books, but I mean, right? It was like as I'm saying. Like,
what is New Orleans doing with that?
I don't know either. Okay. And that was.
I haven't met him, but he seems like an impressive guy.
I mean, he does. I like.
He's starting to clean house.
Right. I like a couple of. I like some DUI problems we're having getting dealt with. How many was that? Like Sam, we talked about it.
1 sheriff, 2 KPD. I don't know.
Sam, did you remember how many total it was of Knoxville area police officers got arrested?
I only heard of 3.
I thought it was weird, just the timing of it, though. I'm just saying, like you don't often get back-to-back kind of stories. Like.
Yeah.
So your SWAT was out in Lovell Road today?
For what?
Some dude barricaded himself in a house.
Sheriff
He's dead.
Or KPD?
I don't know.
Did he commit suicide?
I don't know.
Wow.
I don't think it was a suicide, but.
Wait. How would it not be a suicide? They shot him?
I like the WBR headline, which means absolutely nothing, was the suspect is dead.
Someone texted me about that actually, because I thought there may be another story.
Not even on the front page of the website. It's not even on
the front page. 1 dead in Crossville. No.
Nope. Talking about pot.
Yeah. Here we go. Local news. 2nd-degree murder. No.
New law creates program to give grants up to 5 Gs for volunteer firefighters.
Okay. Great.
Cool.
Also, one of the frustrating things about local TV is their websites are so. It's like
they're wonky.
It's like an obstacle course to get to where you want. It's like everything starts jumping in front of you. You got to X out of this and X out of that.
Knox County Sheriff's Office neighborhood standoff near Lovell Road ends with. Here we go. All right.
Hey, who do you think's going to win, Elaine or Janet?
Look at that tank. I don't know. I don't care. It really doesn't make it like it's.
Janet's gone full right wing.
Like I jokingly mentioned that to somebody smarter than me. Like, no, Janet's more like a traditional Republican, where Elaine's more like a.
She doesn't act like it.
Like, that's not what I'm looking at, buddy. And it's
seen her mailer or Facebook post.
I am in District 18, buddy. This is the game I get to play. Like I've got
all of them.
I've gotten.
Also, I think they're kind of mean. It's
I've gotten like 3 or 4 mailers so far. I mean, I don't know. Going back to your batting average.
What does Janet think? It depends on who she talks to.
Well, it's like your batting average thing earlier. It's like, well, Janet's sales pitch right now is that don't vote for a loser. Like, that was one of the mailers was, like, she lost here, lost there, and she ran as a Democrat here.
Yeah, well, Janet lost a race, too. She ran.
Can you verify that for me?
Yeah. Yes, go look at 2016. She ran as a Republican for County Commission, District 4. She lost the primary to Hugh Nystrom.
No, I'm talking about the Elaine Davis ran as a Democrat at some point.
Oh, yeah, she used to be a Democrat.
Okay.
A lot of people in Tennessee used to be Democrats.
All right, Knox County, Tennessee, WBR
Definitely not a
reporting.
Democrat now.
Knox County, Tennessee, the Knox County Sheriff's Office said a man wanted for murder died after he barricaded himself inside his home and shot himself.
Yikes.
When authorities arrived to arrest him.
Oh, darn.
KCSO said it sent a SWAT team to respond to the situation involving one murder suspect who barricaded himself inside a home in Devonshire 2 neighborhood off Louisville Road near Pillissippi Parkway. According to KCSO, U.S. Marshals with the Smoky Mountain Fugitive Task Force arrived earlier Monday to take Christopher Price, 36, into custody at his home at the 1600 block of Sales Way.
How old was he? 36?
36.
Well, how old are you?
More than 36.
Okay.
Deputies said
less than 36.
Deputies said someone fired at least one shot from inside the home, and KCSO said the task force responded by using gas and calling in assistance from the county at 5:30. What are you doing?
Taking a picture. Someone asked me where I am.
You're busy. That's the answer. According to Sheriff Tom Spangler, the situation ended without further incidents when authorities used a drone to confirm Price was dead.
Oh, so it was the sheriff's office, not KPD?
Do they need a warrant for the use of drone in this situation?
I can't. No, I don't think so. I mean, same as a helicopter, I imagine.
Price was wanted.
Cheaper.
Price was wanted by KPD as a suspect in the murder of Aries. How would you say that? Erreese.
I don't see it.
Right here. Aries.
Reese King Jr.
Reese King Jr.
Interesting.
King died Friday night after he was shot and killed at Harb's Market in Lonsdale.
Oh, wow. I know exactly where that is. Huh.
KCSO said it confirmed no one else was in the home with Price. It initially said it was unsure how many people were inside staying. At one point, it believed other people could be. Sheriff's Office said...
Oh, so the marshals were involved, too. Wow, this is a big deal.
Yep.
Wow.
No. I don't know.
How did we start talking about that?
I don't remember.
Okay.
Talk about SWAT, KBD.
Yeah, that's pretty serious stuff.
If only we had cameras in front of Harb's Market, then maybe we could have seen this before it happened.
Wow, come on. That's a bit...
Yeah. What?
Minimalist.
Isn't that... okay. I hate it. I hate it. I hate the camera ideas. I hate the premise.
The camera. Oh, we were talking about the cameras.
I hate everything about it. I think it's terrible. I think it's the worst thing ever.
I think that... I mean, I don't have an opinion on it. I don't know that much about it. I know that we need to reduce crime, and if we can do that while maintaining constitutional rights and within the realms of what is legally allowed by law enforcement, then we should do that.
Okay.
Yep. Crime is an issue that needs to be taken care of.
You heard it here first, folks. Knox County Democrats don't hate cops.
Yeah, we don't hate cops.
So who
Dylan? Did you see Dylan got the FOP endorsement over Larson?
I don't see. Again, that goes back to my last time I had a show with you and Randy.
But then Larson rolled out an endorsement from Sheriff Spangler. I saw.
I don't understand what the party stand for. I don't get it.
What do you mean?
I thought traditionally the left tend to push back against police.
No.
And what's going on with police and how police are interacting.
We want responsible, ethical policing.
Right, but that doesn't mean the police like that.
I don't know what that means.
Responsible, ethical police, I would at least assume is a minimum of some sort of oversight. And I would assume that the police don't like oversight. And so for the police to promote a Democratic candidate means they're promoting their own oversight, which I'm assuming they don't like.
I don't know what you're trying to communicate. But in Knoxville, we have the Police Advisory Review Committee, which was actually created by Victor Ashe, a Republican.
Sort of.
What are you, a member of the West Knoxville Republican Club?
All I hear out of Victor Ashe is hating on Republicans. And I get it, because the new version of Republicans...
read his...
I only hear what you send me, and it's always making fun of, whatever. What was the one
he obviously doesn't like Daniel, but... Victor Ashe is a Republican. He supports Tim Burchett. He supported Eddie Manis.
Eddie Manis isn't a
Republican. He writes
Republican.
good things about Janet. He's a Republican. He's a traditional Republican.
Okay.
He's a Republican.
And maybe that's part of the problem I have is I don't understand. Like at least with the right side of the conversation, I don't understand the difference.
The issue is that the Republican Party in the state of Tennessee, but also nationally, has just gone full on right wing, and it didn't used to be that way. It's like, Mitt Romney was the Republican nominee in 2012. Think of all the people that call him a rhino or a Democrat now or a liberal. Mitt Romney's not a liberal; he's just a Republican.
So again, that's where I run into issues.
What's the former Senator Howard Baker? Howard Baker would be called a rhino now, and he was a full-fledged Republican.
Okay. Again, I don't know what
Victor Ashe has never voted in anything other than a Republican primary.
But again, that's the problem with me is that that's the definition: is if you vote for Republicans, you're a Republican. That's it. Like, is that the only thing that makes the definition true? If you vote in Republican primaries and you vote for Republicans in generals, and you donate to Republicans and not Democrats,
that sounds like you're a Republican.
But
if you vote for Republicans, donate to Republicans,
I don't care.
Republican primaries, that sounds like a Republican.
But I don't care who you vote for or who you donate to. I care about what you do.
What do you mean what you do?
What you do, what your policies are, where you stand on policy issues.
Was elected while being known as a Republican and then appointed to a position by George W. Bush, a Republican president.
All right, so Republicans say he's a Republican. Well, old school Republicans say he's a Republican. It's all the same thing to me. It's all the same thing of, well, if you play on our team and you do things that our team likes, then we'll call you part of our team.
He is just as much a Republican as I am a Democrat.
Okay, that doesn't. Okay.
Am I not a Democrat?
I don't know. I don't know what a Democrat is.
Say I'm not a Democrat.
I don't know. Yet you vote for Democrats and you donate to Democrats, even though you can't anymore.
Maybe.
But yes, if voting for and donating to is the definition, then yes, I would agree that you're a Democrat. I don't know if I'd agree with that Dash because I don't know his voting /
Sam, if someone votes for Republicans and donates to Republicans and supports Republicans, would you say that person's a Republican?
I would assume that they were.
Yeah. I would assume that they're just not a Democrat because it's an A-B conversation. That's all it says.
What else can you prove to be a Republican than voting for, donating, and supporting Republicans?
Because it's the policy and the platform that I don't understand. Okay. Because that's what because I don't think. I don't know. I guess to me, I think we are supposed to be voting for individuals.
Well,
not for
I don't
parties.
care who is or is not a Republican. It doesn't matter to me.
Okay, but I thought we were supposed to be voting for people, not parties. I thought we were supposed to be voting for people that represent us. I'm sorry, Sam. I said that wrong. People that represent me. Is that right, Sam?
Yeah,
right.
Sure.
People that represent me. Because when I say me, I say me all the time. Another bingo item we can put up. When I say me, I mean we, as in my neighborhood, my constituency.
The royal we?
Right. Whatever the constituency is for the seat. So whether it's District 4 or 18 or State 6, whatever it is, that's what I say when I mean me. When I say me, I mean those people. Like Massey represents 6. What does Massey do for me as far as people of 6?
She seems like a pretty loyal guest. She comes on quite a bit.
She's been on twice, maybe 3 times. I'm trying to get Manis on to do a show specifically on the ballot items in November.
What ballot? Oh, the right to work.
There's like 4 or 5.
He's big anti-labor. See, that's the thing that makes Eddie Republican. He's very anti-labor.
There's like 4 or 5 on there.
Yeah, you should have him on for an airing of grievances.
Oh, that's what I'm. I want him to talk shit about the Republican Party.
Yeah,
because it's stupid. That's my target with it. But the premise that I'm inviting him on here is for talk about the ballot items because I want to understand what they are. Because whoever gets to write those things always writes them weird.
The ballot items. Yeah, that's all. It's political.
Right, but
remember what's his name, Bud Armstrong, and how he wrote that one.
Yeah,
and everybody was upset, and it's
because Sam, I love you, buddy.
every part of government is political.
I agree, but
the Supreme Court is political.
Yes, it is. But I'm not disagreeing with that. I'm just saying, like, that's one of those things to me. Like, just like we have a bunch on here in this early, if you're early voting, but this August ballot on these state court judges. all these different state retain or not retain.
Yeah.
And that weird ass system of, well, I don't know. I don't like them, but I don't know who you're going to appoint in their place. So, do I want to keep them or not? And it's like, well, it's statewide, right?
Yeah.
And so, like,
I mean, it's a weird system.
I've never dealt with Judge A, B, whatever. Like, I'm not a lawyer anyway. But
8 years ago, there was actually a coordinated effort to replace all of the Democratic judges, and it failed, luckily. There's a lot of Bredesen appointees that people tried to get off. There hasn't been a coordinated effort this year. I think it's because last time it didn't work.
Well, that's part of those things.
Because there's still some Bredesen appointees.
Right, but it's like who remembers who? Like, I mean, people do obviously remember who's who, but when it gets down to the electorate, when it gets down to the electorate itself, they don't remember who's who in this
they don't
thing.
Care.
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be honest with you. There were a few of those I just didn't vote in. I didn't know.
I'm just going to vote to not retain everybody.
So then Bill Lee replaces all the replacement people.
I don't know who put him there.
So you haven't voted yet?
No.
Sam, have you voted yet?
Nope.
I'm going
to
to
early vote or vote on election day or absentee?
I'm probably going to skip the primaries.
But no, dude, it's general. It's the county general. It's
county general.
Right.
Yeah.
You can skip the primaries on it, but it's the county general right now.
Vote Debbie Helsley.
Sell them on it.
I did finally see her commercial.
Oh, really? On YouTube?
I think that's where it was.
Sweet. The one funded by the lottery winner? JK.
Ooh,
probably.
I just threw dynamite on the floor.
So are you going to vote early, absentee, day of? What's your polling place?
I had no idea. I've got to switch it up.
Too late to switch it up.
I've moved since.
Don't say what you're going to say. Stop right there.
Yeah.
Don't tell him the truth on that part. He doesn't need to know.
Okay.
Because if you don't vote the way he wants you to vote, he's going to make Chris Davis aware, and then we have problems. He moved between elections, but it doesn't matter.
Whatever happened to that? Wasn't there someone who reported themselves for voting?
Yeah, nothing.
Yeah.
I mean, I indirectly did. My post on the day of was like, I got a Republican primary.
Oh, that's right. Chris Davis
everybody and their fucking brother. Everybody and their brother knows I am a Republican.
You need to find out when Randy's going and go. When Randy's going, then he has a moral obligation to report you.
I doubt I don't know that we're in the same precinct.
Oh, does he vote on election day? Are you going to vote on election day?
Yeah.
Oh, that's right. You said that. Yeah, that's right.
Because I hate election workers. I don't.
Or campaigns. It's also not good for campaigns, but you don't care about that.
No,
Hey, I've said this before, but anyone listening, if you don't like getting calls or mail or texts or even advertisements from people to go out and vote, just early vote, and no joke, we take you off the list.
Okay, everybody, while you're hearing what he's saying, understand what he's actually saying is they're watching you.
Yeah.
And they know when you voted and when you haven't, so they can not waste their money on you.
Yep.
Once you've done your job. They have that information and they know it. So just so you know, I mean, they don't know who you voted for per se, but they know that you voted and they know to leave you alone.
Yeah. What's wrong with that?
I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. I'm just making sure that they know what you just said.
Yeah.
If you want them to shut up, tell them that you've already voted. No, that doesn't
although for mail, sometimes like
the mail's
already gone, so we can't stop the mail.
Republicans can. They're really good at it. They're really good at fucking up the mail system. Anyway, that's a separate, separate thing.
Joy or whatever. Hopefully get rid of that guy soon.
But I don't know what the numbers. We got numbers coming back. Have you looked at some of the numbers of the first
I mean,
days?
it's 3 days in. I tell people don't really. It's good to look, but don't pull any trends until 7 days in.
No.
Because as of right now, there's probably 10 to 15% of the people that have voted that are yet to vote. There's still 85% of people to vote.
I just don't.
But I will say that I hear the Republicans are freaking out.
Okay. I don't know what that means.
It means that stupid tweet about the lottery winner
didn't work. The question, I guess, would be: did he think it was going to work?
Yeah, I don't know. Kind of seems pathetic to me.
Seems like a
lots of votes yes to be cast.
Seems like a shotgun style kind of deal. You just keep throwing them out.
Yeah.
One lands with one person. Then it's a win.
Yeah, true.
As long as they're not all misses.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so anyway, Sam might vote for Debbie. I mean,
yeah, Sam, do you usually kind of mix and match Democrat and Republican? Tend to vote one more? What?
Tend to vote one more?
Yeah, like one party over more. Yeah,
right. One party more than the other.
Not necessarily.
Really? So you're a mix and matcher?
I don't mix and match that often.
Okay, so which one do you tend to vote more? Democratic. Okay.
Guess vote more Democratic.
Okay, nice.
Than Republican.
But you would say you're at least a little swingy. Like there's a Republican you like.
Oh, he swings.
Who talks about something?
Wait, I'm sorry.
Then you'll vote for that one.
Yeah, depending on the candidate.
Okay, nice. That's good. I mean, I like people like you because that means that what we do is still important. Like talking about issues is still important. It's not just trying to gin up the base, you know?
Right.
Yeah.
Everyone just voting down ballot.
Yeah. I mean, people and voters like you, I think, make all of the parties and all of the candidates better candidates because we actually have to talk about real stuff and not just kind of buzzwords.
He's State House 15.
Okay, it's a Democratic district.
Yeah. All right, so you don't matter anymore. He's done. He's done selling you.
Okay.
Who's running for House? Who's running for 15?
Sam McKenzie, incumbent.
Yeah.
Has he been on before?
Yeah. No.
He's husband of Gwen McKenzie.
I've had Gwen, but I haven't had him.
But see, you're interesting because you live in a super Democratic state house district, but then you live in a typically Republican county. And do you live south of the river?
Yeah.
Okay, then you actually live in a very competitive school board race.
What? Christie?
District 9, Christie, Annabelle Henley. So look up those two candidates, figure out which one perks your interest, and vote.
Go to almostargument.com and check out the voter guide. I've had interviews with both of those.
Yeah, that's right. They've both been on, right?
Yep.
Good. Yeah, so actually, I'm not joking, Sam. You actually live in a very competitive school board district, District 9. So your vote, I mean, it could come down to a couple votes, really.
Your vote matters.
We've laughed about Christie a couple times.
Say that again.
So I think we've laughed about Christie a couple times.
I mean, you can't
marry into the Christie name.
Yes, I mean, there's poor life choices.
Yeah, and then there's Annabelle Henley who's running against her.
Right, her name sounds better, so you should vote for her.
So yeah, I'm serious though. Look it up because that's actually gonna and you don't, when you go to vote, you don't have to vote in a primary. You can say I don't want to vote in a primary. I just want to vote for the county general, and they will just give you a ballot with the county general people on it, and then you can vote for whoever you want.
Right, you'll have that race. You'll have the Sam McKenzie race. You'll have
no. He can't vote in Sam McKenzie's race if he doesn't vote in the primary.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's a state voter. And then you have Commission 11 or 10 and 11.
Yeah, and Mayor Debbie versus Glenn.
You'll have the trustee. You'll have all the judges. You'll have the Register of Deeds. Who's running against? Is there anybody running against McBride?
Scott Crammon.
Okay.
You should have him on. Have you reached out to him?
No.
Okay.
That's.
And then the court clerk, Dana Moran. There's a lot of stuff you can vote for.
Sarah Keith and one of the judges.
Keith, yeah. Have you had Cerny on?
No.
Okay.
We only had two judges. I had Dino, which...
whatever happened to Dino?
He got beat in the primary.
Yeah, but whatever happened since then?
I don't know. I haven't followed up with him, but I just... Hope
you're doing well, Dino.
It was interesting because, the whole, they had the bar survey or whatever that comes out.
Yeah, everybody hated Bud Armstrong.
Yeah.
And he won.
Exactly. And it's but it's a name recognition game,
yeah.
Which again, that's what Testerman's really running on.
Yeah, I don't know how many people remember her dad, but
I mean, she's currently relevant.
Yeah,
good or bad,
so,
she's currently relevant, and I think that is a factor.
She said she opposes gay marriage.
Apparently, I don't know. I don't really understand that whole whatever.
Yeah. What does Janet believe? It depends on who she talks to.
I mean, I don't know. The problem to me is that...
Do you think all these people's staff listen to this?
Probably a couple.
Yeah. They
and hopefully a couple.
Yeah.
I know Eddie's staff. One of Eddie's staffers does. I don't know how many staffers Eddie has.
I think he's just got one.
And I know his one does. I don't know if he gets this far in, but I think he at least listens to episodes that
Jack, my staffer Jack, and a couple of other of them. I think Jack's probably the only one that actually listens, but Jack listens. He's my staffer.
Yeah, thanks, Jack.
Hey, Jack.
I just I don't know who listens. I get a few every once in a while.
What's his name? Andrew Davis. He listen.
I'll get some people that'll email me or text me every once in a while on this, that, and the other. Tell me I'm wrong about something. Yeah. Okay.
I think you should start having staff on too. Because they're behind the scenes. They're the ones who run the show. They're not like the candidates are the ones who run the campaigns.
I've had a couple on.
I'm not the one who runs the day-to-day party.
Yeah, I've had a couple of staffers on. It's like why would you go after this instead of going after the seat or whatever, like that kind of conversation. Mm-hmm. But I've done a few of those episodes.
Yeah,
I would do more.
I mean, they're really the ones who run the show too. Like it's like Joe Biden too. I mean, he's one person. He can't do everything. He's got a whole staff of people that actually do stuff.
Yes.
Yeah. Agreed. I don't think he probably even answers emails.
Does he know how emails work?
I wouldn't answer emails if I didn't have to.
So
that's what I would do if I won the lottery. I'd hire somebody to answer my emails for me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and actually I would say, if it's important, print it out, bring it to me. I'll write a response, type it up, send it back.
Why? You're going to handwrite it? Like, so for time saving, you're going to handwrite something? I mean,
I just wouldn't want to, I don't want to look at the screen all day.
I don't disagree with that part of it, but I mean, handwriting the response is, you know, I would type it and be like, hey, make sure this is like, you know, grammatically correct and stuff like that.
Yeah, why not write it out? It's quicker.
Handwriting is quicker than typing.
No.
Okay. Here we are, everybody. This is what we do. All
right, what's the next issue we're going to talk about? Sam, what's the next issue?
Yeah, Sam, give this boss something to talk about.
Yeah, boss.
Voodoo economics.
Voodoo economics. Oh, that's right. That's a good phrase.
Is that a phrase? I have not heard that phrase.
Yeah, Democrats call Reaganomics, trickle-down economics, voodoo economics.
Voodoo economics. Okay.
Yeah, actually, I think George H.W. Bush was the first one to call it that in a primary against Ronald Reagan.
Now you're wandering off the mic, bro.
Trickle-down economics.
I don't know. Like, so on a local version of it is you have the trickle-down housing thing that people pitch fit on Jacobs at.
Yeah.
I don't know. I kind of tend to agree with the premise. Unless the city is going to build more housing.
I mean, the city's almost... I mean, there's not a lot of vacant lots in the city.
I would say unless the city is going to build the housing...
Yeah.
I don't understand how you do it any other way. Like, how do we...
So what's the premise? I don't understand what you're talking about.
Premise being the trickle-down housing...
Oh, like if you build more... whatever level,
right?
Yeah.
As a developer, you're building high-end, like you want to build high-end housing because high-end housing you make more money off.
Yeah,
and
so I hear.
And so, which apparently, as far as developers go, it's a very tight margin game. But whatever. But you build that high-end housing because you make more money off.
They always say that, but their margin at least lets them max out to Glenn Jacobs.
I mean, 12% of $5 million is not bad money.
Yeah,
but you only get a couple of those every once in a while, theoretically.
I don't know. I mean, you had a good episode with Hanson. He really knows a lot about that.
Hanson was great.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's the same thing. But I mean, as far as I took that episode with Hanson, it was build everything, build anything.
Yeah. I mean, Hanson comes from a specific standpoint and represents a specific group of people.
But I think
that's not to say that he's wrong. It's not to say he's 100%.
But I think the takeaway is that but whether we're going to call it trickle down housing or whatever is the number one way to fix housing issues is to have more houses available, and it doesn't matter the cost level of the housing. Is that you get more housing because the developers want to build high-end housing. That's going to get developers to build more housing, and the people that can afford it are going to move into it, and whatever they're vacating is going to be vacated, and the people that can afford that are going to move into that, and it's going to keep working its way down. That would be the trickle-down premise.
Yeah. Yeah, but then, I mean...
At some point, because nobody's going to build... Like, we lived in a house... Sam and I lived in a house, and the wife was with pre-wife time. 2-bedroom, 1 bath. What do you think? 700 square feet?
Maybe, yeah.
Where?
Fellini. If that's a bad one.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Old North Knoxville, I don't know.
Yeah.
Whatever. You know, a little tiny house on a decent lot, considering the size of the house and the neighborhood and all that kind of shit.
What street?
Lawson.
Huh. I got a friend of mine
at least
Lawson.
Like 500 yards or less from where Gloria's current address is.
Yeah, okay, gotcha.
But nobody's going to build that house. Why would you build that house?
No.
As a developer, nobody's going to build that house.
Yeah, well, there's not a space to build that house anymore. Not there.
But the moral being is like nobody's going to build that house, but that's an entry level house.
Yeah.
You know, that's a house to get started in. We didn't buy that house; we were renting. But
I think, at least from my very lay understanding, is it gets into a larger discussion about. No, I can't. No, thanks. It gets into a larger discussion about like corridors and density. and like how the different types of housing. I mean, again, that's not something that's my forte, so I don't pretend to understand it or speak intelligently about it.
I get you, but I think the general premise.
I think people like Hanson Sale know what they're talking about. I think people like Kevin Murphy know what they're talking about.
But I think the general premise and the way politics and governance works, all in conjunction, is politically unadvantageous.
What is
to prepare? Preparation is a bad move if you're in office if you want to get reelected.
Why?
Because by the time your preparation actually yields, it's past the time for your reelection. It's too late.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So, like thinking ahead of time. Yeah. Right. So that's why we basically do nothing about climate change.
So the point, but the point being is by having the long view isn't politically advantageous. It's not a good incentive to take the long view.
Yeah, it's not.
And so you have to lean into what actually works, where the incentive structures are in place, where the incentive structure of the place is high end, whatever, and that kind of stuff, and it moves forward that way. And that being is that the infrastructure has to catch up. You can't pre-infrastructure. It doesn't work politically, and if it doesn't work politically, it won't happen because.
Hold on. What weren't building interstates kind of pre-planning for infrastructure?
I mean,
but I guess you could argue that the interstates brought development. So I mean, it's chicken egg.
But the interstates of when they were that was a huge.
Thanks, Al Gore Sr.
No, but that was a huge animal, and I get what you're saying with that, and I don't disagree.
That would be an interesting thing to read a history of. Is like the interstate movement and how that came.
Sure, but and what it destroyed in the process too. It destroyed plenty of things. But I mean, I think the idea being is that Larson said it to me on a show one time. It's like we could build
Republican. We could
build a 4-lane. We could build a 2-lane highway both ways or whatever, way out over here. But if there's nothing out there, we're going to get killed for it. Politically, we're going to get killed for it because millions and millions of dollars went over there instead of into the schools, into this thing, into this other corridor that needed to work, into this and that and the other. And so the idea is that.
So you're telling me that Larson takes into his future political situation into account to every decision he makes?
Who doesn't?
People besides Larson.
Oh, okay. People that don't get elected.
Yeah.
But that's the idea, and that's the premise, and that's the problem. I mean, that's one of the bigger the overarching problem with the system is that it's not advantageous for the individual to take that effort to look into the long term.
Yeah, I mean, they can sell it. Blowback for things that are not immediately advantageous.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that I guess going into the whole housing conversation we have is and so the infrastructure always has to come behind. The infrastructure will never be first. And so when you get into the zoning conversation, you get into all these arguments about all these other things.
Yeah,
it's like, well, we can't pre-do it. Now in the city, that's a little bit different because there's tons already there.
Yeah, I think a lot of it is like public transportation, walkability. Like, do you have to drive 30 minutes to work? Can you take a bus? Can you take a train? Can you take a bicycle?
Well, I mean, hell, how many routes did just cut?
Quite a bit.
Yeah. Why? Because nobody rides it?
Well, no, I thought it was because of staffing.
Right, but they're trying to do it. I would be like, I'm not opposed to buses. Like, I don't. It's a weird.
We should do an episode on a bus, on a cat bus.
On a bus.
Yeah. Jimmy Kimmel on his show actually did an episode.
So we can do
at the back of a Los Angeles City
we can do an
episode on the bus and interview people as they come on.
We can do a Matt's on the show bingo where Matt suggests the next show.
Pretty good.
but again, like I mean, for me in work, it's not an option. Yeah. Just period, not an option. Sam, can you ride the bus to work? Either work? You're working 2 jobs.
I could get close enough to it, I think, with the assist of a bicycle.
You'd have to ride. You have to ride your bike to the mall. I'd have to ride. Like, if it's me, I have to ride my bike to the mall.
Okay.
I mean, my day job, no, period. Can't happen.
Well, you drive around, right?
Yeah.
Well, where do you go to get where you're going to drive around?
I go to my driveway and get my car, and I drive around.
Oh, I thought you had okay, never mind.
Yeah, I don't. I have to drive my own vehicle, which is.
They compensate you for that?
I get a gas allowance, which was more than I paid for gas. It's not currently.
Unionize.
I'm thinking about it, actually. I'm legitimately just for the sake of doing so. I don't think any of my colleagues listen to the show, so... Well, my colleagues can listen to this show and hear this part, but I'm sure my boss doesn't because I bitched about him on playing the time of the show and he hasn't said anything, so...
Okay.
I don't know, but again, okay, so that brings me into one of my greater topics is, I think one of the interesting things to me, and that is a failure of education, and Sam hates me for this one, but as a failure of education is we are not capable of self-assessment in what's going on. I think one of the issues that we have as a nation...
Explain that.
I'm getting there. I think one of the issues that we have as a nation is that we constitute what we need with what we should be paid, instead of what we're doing for what we should get paid. I think there's an important distinction between the two, and sometimes they line up and sometimes they don't.
So like the phrase "living wage."
I don't understand what that means.
Is that what you're getting at?
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay.
What does living wage mean? Because living wage was 15, and now last I heard is like 22, 23.
I don't know.
It keeps moving around. I mean, I think we've talked about it before. It's like one of the problems with the living wage argument is, well, 15 here could probably play, where 15 in New York City is not going to play at all.
Yeah, I remember us talking about that. Yeah.
But I think...
So say that again. Self-assessment.
Right. I think understanding who you are as a person is something that we lack as a nation. I think in the grand scheme of things, I think individuals lack that.
Okay.
And I think especially on the lower end of the labor market, is they lack an assessment of what they're actually doing.
Okay.
Because to me, and this gets into the super capitalism kind of shit, is production is what matters. That's the point. You're producing something with your labor.
All right.
And if you're producing something that is supposed to be cheap... Rowdy misses you, Sam.
Your dog's a Marxist.
Yeah, he doesn't like me getting all super capitalist. But
what was that, boy? Eat the rich.
if you're supposed to be if you're trying to produce something that is supposed to be cheap, you can't get paid. You can't get well paid for that if the thing is easy to produce. Rowdy, are you done?
I mean, from the other perspective, it talks about, profit margins.
Yeah. Profit margins.
Is it okay for the CEO of McDonald's to continually make higher and higher profits, higher and higher salaries while the average pay of his workers stagnates?
Is it okay? I don't.
Is it right? Is it morally right? I follow the question, and it's not a bad question. Is it okay? So the inverse is, and let me and Sam hates when I do this too. Let me answer your question with a question. Okay, yeah.
Is it morally right? Okay, no, I'll agree with you. I will not ask my question. Yes, no, it is not. It is not morally accurate that management or owner class continues to
wow, you
raise
just said
their
the phrase
income.
Owner class
continues to raise their own income without raising the income of the people that work for them.
Okay, yeah, I agree.
Because if you're going to raise a price on a thing, that means that the effort to make the thing has changed, and that should compensate down as well as up.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't disagree with that.
Okay, and I agree that people that are overseeing larger scale operations understandably make larger salaries.
That's what we've talked about in here, and I failed to articulate very well. It's like a Bezos type character with the ridiculous amount of employees that is under him. If he's making a dime per employee per hour, that's a ridiculous amount of money.
Oh yeah.
Where if I'm making a dime per employee per hour, it's not that much money.
Yeah, no.
Because I have 8 employees.
Well, I think it gets into another kind of like how much money is too much money. Like, can he even spend that amount of money?
But that's a weird. No, he can't. Well, he can buy a boat that can't get out of harbor. But he can't buy them to fucking move the bridge, which he thought he did, which was that's a funny ass story. I know that story back when it was before they changed their mind. Apparently, he was already in place.
Was that in Denmark? Or
yeah, he knew he knew that there was a big deal and that Denmark that was an important bridge to them historically and all that kind of shit. And apparently, he'd already talked to him about it and said, I'll pay to let you guys deconstruct a bridge so I can get my boat out and put it back up.
Such a dumb thing.
It's not dumb. I certainly don't feel bad for Bezos in the conversation, but it's like these guys are the best people in the world to build boats. I want the biggest boat on the fucking planet.
Why couldn't they build it somewhere else?
Apparently, those are the people that build the best boats.
But there's a bridge.
But they had to deal with the people that could move the bridge out of the way. On a base level, I get it. I get the conversation. It's like, these guys build the best boats.
Yeah.
I want the biggest one. Mm-hmm. Hey, it's too big to get out of the bridge, or to get from under the bridge. And, okay, well, let's talk to them. Hey, I'll pay for you guys to move the bridge out of the way for a week.
Well, okay, who opens up a boat building shop where there's a bridge down the way?
Because you don't ever anticipate building a yacht that fucking big.
Yeah, right.
It's the biggest one. It's literally, hey, I've got the biggest yacht of the
Could they build part of it, take it out, and build the rest of it?
It could be like a truck. You deflate the tires a little bit. And
whatever happened to that?
What?
Whatever happened to the boat? Last
I heard it, it's sitting at the manufacturer still.
Huh. Okay. Well, whatever.
But but I agree. I don't know. There's. To me, and in the libertarian view, it's supposed to be a voluntary exchange.
Yeah.
I work for money.
Mm-hmm.
And I agree that the amount of work I do is worth the money I make.
Yeah.
And when that's not the agreement anymore, I take issue with that, and either you correct it as my boss or you don't. And then is it to the level that it matters, that I'm going to draw the line here and I'm not going to cross it? But I don't think we're taught that.
So then why are libertarians against organized labor? Seems like they should be for organized labor. Like if you're saying okay,
I don't know that I don't know that libertarians are against organized labor. I don't know if that's true or not. I'm not that good of a libertarian.
You don't like unions?
No.
But unions are workers that are just kind of I'm not going to take this crap anymore.
I'm in the boss class.
Yeah.
But they're not it's not a worker because it's no longer a mutual exchange. Like if you are a union person and you work for me, it's not an exchange between me and you anymore as the boss. It's now an exchange between me and your collective.
Yeah, but the collective is more powerful than the individual.
Sure. But it's not a mutual exchange anymore. It's now a power struggle. If it was correct...
it was a power struggle all along.
If it was correct, but it should be a fairly reasonable power struggle where you have some of... your power matters.
People where unions are working, I don't think that they're hurting for profit margins.
I don't know. I don't know the totality. Maybe. Mm-hmm. I don't know, what their moral standard is for what they're willing to make for their job that they do and whatnot versus.
But see what in my mind that organized labor is just the equivalent of an individual saying, "Nah, free market. I'm not going to put up with that anymore," except collectively.
So it's not an individual.
This is a collection of individuals.
So it's not an individual.
It is an individual plus an individual plus an individual plus an individual.
So it's not me and you talking about what you are willing to do for the work that
it's me and you and my coworker and two other coworkers.
Right. And 9 times out of 10,
who still don't have as much power as you do.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not a libertarian, but I think that there is a way for libertarian philosophy. Organized labor.
I honestly, and personally, I don't particularly care for the generic premise of unions, but I don't care. If you want to unionize. Mm-hmm. But I take issue with the state coming in and saying, well, you have to deal with union employees now as an employer. I can't I can't clear house on my entire staff because they're unionized. I'm not okay with that part.
I don't know that that's true.
I mean, what happens? Starbucks is just closing stores as opposed to. I mean, you don't think a Starbucks could just fire everybody and start with a new staff?
I am not an expert on employment law.
I'm just saying, I believe that is generally what's happening right now in the Starbucks cases. Is that Starbucks is just closing stores because they don't want to deal with the union's place.
I think that there is a way for a libertarian philosophy to support collective bargaining.
I have no issue with collectivism, and Sam can attest to that. We've had a conversation about it too.
Okay. Wait, so you've got no issue with collectivism, but you've got an issue with unions?
I'm not.
Unions are collectivists.
I have an issue with forced collectivism, and unions get into forced collectivism.
Well, we don't have that in Tennessee.
Gracefully.
That's going to be one of the things on the November ballot.
But I
vote no on Amendment 1.
But again, that's one of the things that I want to
just keep yelling political slogans.
Nobody's listening anyway. It doesn't matter. But again, like it's the libertarian value. Yeah, I've got plenty of food in this house. I got some beef jerky in there.
I don't eat meat.
What?
Yeah, you didn't know that?
I didn't know that about you. Anyway, the forced collectivism is where the libertarian draws the line.
Okay.
Collective is fine.
Okay.
If we want to put a collective together, it's forced collectivism. Okay. And when you get into a union situation, as I understand it, is when it becomes forced upon the owners to deal with the collective. Because they're not part of that collective. They're the antithesis of said collective in the way a union generally works.
What did we start talking about?
I don't remember.
Okay.
That's what we do. It's a good show. This is what happens when you do a full show instead of your little pre-box shows that you give me notes and I'm allowed to talk to you.
Sam, what do you think about organized labor?
We're doing some pretzels?
Yeah, I'll have some pretzels.
All right. I'm going to run upstairs and grab some pretzels.
All right, tell us what you think about organized labor.
I want to hear this.
I'm for unions.
Okay. See, the thing
I agree. Because it is trying to balance out that power of it. I mean, when you have an owner and a worker, you have no power as that kind of just working the line worker.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because I mean, most of what unions are demanding for is overall pay increase, overall more increased safety measures or whatever.
Yeah. I mean, see, that's the thing too, is like unions aren't some boogeyman that are trying to get you to go bankrupt or anything.
It's not one guy trying to like, oh, I want to get paid more. It's like, I want me and my coworkers to have a safer or better working conditions and get paid a little bit more.
Yeah, and I mean unions created the weekend. Unions created the 40-hour work week. That's what unions stopped child labor.
Right.
So yeah. The Amendment 1 is like the right to work and all that. I mean, I guess we can get into that later, but. So, have you ever been a member of a union, Sam?
I have not, no.
Okay. Well, see, the thing in Tennessee is that unions are pretty rare nowadays, so... Have you ever worked in an industry that did have a union?
Oh, not to my knowledge.
Okay. What kind of industries have you worked in?
Mostly customer service, but I mean, I've worked at a couple of major corporations, a couple smaller, worked at a treatment facility for adolescents.
What's
all across the board?
What's been your assessment of working environments from like kind of working for a small business, smaller operation versus working for a major corporation?
The time I had at a major corporation, I mean, it was kind of the downside of it being a major corporation, but at the same time, they had at least
pretzels.
Some kind of established structure.
Mm-hmm.
So they did have that benefit of knowing. They're like, hey, we've been doing this for a while. We know best practices to get A and B done. Where I've seen with some smaller things, they're still always playing like that catch-up game. They're still like they're in that learning curve.
Yeah. We were just talking about what industries Sam has worked in. He's worked for major corporations and small businesses.
Yeah.
So given your option, would you rather work for a major corporation or a small business?
Small business.
And why is that?
More malleable.
Okay, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Because I've done both, and being your boss in one of the small businesses or whatever, but like I agree in the sense that like you actually I love the idea of having direct contacts with the owner.
Yeah,
love that part.
See, that's a situation where maybe a union is not as necessary versus Jeff Bezos is your boss versus your boss.
But I don't know. I guess the question, when I say really, is like, what do you mean by malleable?
As far as I guess things can still change. You're not trying to change, a major corporation with 5 satellite offices and
I get what you're saying. Okay,
3 factories. You're not going to change their best practices.
All right, I get what you're saying on there. Okay, because like what I said, really, I was thinking like like small business, working for small business is harder. I think it's harder on the personal life than some of the bigger businesses I've worked for.
Really? Why?
Because I feel like there's more flexibility in the volume of staff, in that I can have coverage.
Okay.
Where I'm one of 10. Taking a day off is a much bigger deal as one of 10 than it is when one of 1,000.
Yeah.
Depending on what your production is and what you're doing and all that kind of stuff, but it's a much issue. It's an issue we've had with our own staff. It's that we've got vacations and we want to provide vacations, and when you have the time, it's like, well, Billy's going on vacation, so you can't go on vacation, Jim. Mm-hmm. We can't function with two of you out at the same time.
But do you think the conversation, when there is situations where...
Right, and Billy knows Jim, and that makes it a little easier, too.
Yeah, but I mean, I feel like the conversations and the malleableness that Sam's talking about in a small business, maybe there's more restrictive nature, but you can have a conversation better than having a conversation in a huge corporation if you work for American Express or whatever.
Yeah. No, I get... Yeah, I agree with that in that sense. I do. I just I don't know. I guess to that part to me is that it's restrictive in the sense that like I can't it's harder to it's harder to be a priority, to self prioritize.
Yeah. When
there's not as much room to move, for lack of a better word, because I can't take the day off because Bob's off and whatever, that kind of stuff.
Sam, when you worked for a major corporation, did you feel like you were more of like just a number?
To an extent at times, yeah.
Well, I mean, you're number 15 to me.
What were the benefits of working for a major corporation?
The benefits.
Yeah, I mean, supposedly we're supposed to get better insurance rates. But
I mean, that's
sure how great of that was.
On the owner side of it, that's the issue I have as a small business. It's way harder to work in all the shit that employees expect. It's way harder to navigate that shit as a small business. To try to get some of those things available to your staff. Yeah. It's way harder. Mm-hmm. And it's frustrating because it's like I want to be able to provide these things. I want to be able to do it. To be fair, I don't think it should be my responsibility. And it's not technically because I'm small enough that, I don't have... Yeah. I currently don't have federal labor standards and stuff like that falling on my lap.
Well, I've always thought that's interesting. I'm not saying that I necessarily believe in... Well, I'll just say... It seems to me that corporations and businesses would want a more nationalized healthcare system because then they don't have to pay for it and they don't have to worry about it.
No, absolutely not.
Why?
Competitively, it's way better that they pay for it.
Why?
Because little shit upstarts can't afford it. And so the best engineers, the best whatevers that are on the market, they're going to come work for me as the big boy corporation because I can provide these things. Where the little guy can't.
We just translate that into pay instead.
I mean, that's how it should be. Like, I mean, it's a stupid... Like the issues with
it just seems to me that, like, healthcare is increasingly a cost to the employers.
But see, I'll agree with you 100% that it should not be a cost to the employers. I just don't agree with you on why, on how. And it's fine. Whatever.
So
the state can do it, whatever can do it.
But would you be more
because here's the problem.
With the state taking a more active role in healthcare? Like Canada, the UK?
Probably not, generally speaking. But I mean, the problem is I'm in a unique position as an owner of a company that does provide.
Hold on, owner class.
Fine, I'm of the owner class. I'm the poor end of the owner class, but I'm of the owner class.
Yeah.
But as an owner of a company who is trying to provide things to my staff and wants to provide things to my staff, we provided insurance, which is not very great. Sam can attest to the not very greatness of it. It's the best we can do.
That's good for you, though.
That kind of stuff.
Provide insurance. Good for you.
We're trying to provide that thing to them, and so by providing that to them, I have an option to that as the owner.
Okay.
I also, from my day job, have an option.
Yeah.
Well, the one sticking point on why I keep my insurance with the day job is that if I drop my insurance with the day job, I don't get the pay.
Oh.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, they pay, I don't know, $120 a month. At least that's what they theoretically pay for my portion of the insurance, blah, blah, blah.
See, for my job, if I opt out of insurance, I get, a certain amount of money per month.
Yeah,
for opting out. Okay.
I don't.
That's kind of bogus.
Yeah.
Unionize.
But the point being is that the idea that since it is attached, it's a disincentive for me to walk away. Yeah. It makes me more attached to the job because it is attached.
Yeah.
Instead of having it in my version or your version separated from it. It should, like, it's dumb. It is dumb to me that it's not actually a benefit anymore.
What do you mean?
Well, the idea of benefit was supposed to be this is what makes me better than the other guy.
Oh, yeah.
I put this in place.
And now there's people who work just so they have health care.
Right.
Yeah.
But I put this in place as the boss because this is going to get you the best of the best to come work for me. Well, now it's everybody.
Yeah.
So it's not a benefit anymore. It's
everybody
standard.
has it, yeah.
Right.
Is that how it started? Like only certain companies offered insurance?
Yeah, because if I remember correctly, it was somewhere in the Depression era kind of thing, and it was one of those that there was some price fixing going on, and that you couldn't
classic.
Yeah, you couldn't pay. You couldn't pay more than X for certain jobs, and so the business response to that was, well, we'll pay the maximum that we're allowed to.
I didn't know that
by standard, and we'll add this and this and this.
Yeah,
and so that's how they got away with. Or that's where it started, and then we got to not Obama era, Clinton era, where we started it being at some level obligated. Well, I guess that was Obama era.
Yeah.
There was.
Well, I mean, Clinton tried to.
Right, Hillary was in charge of it back when she hated gay people.
What?
That's when marriage.
I'm not on the internet enough to understand what that means.
That's when she still was going out talking about how marriage is a man and woman thing.
Okay, whatever. Yeah, I mean,
she's allowed to change her mind.
To go full circle, that's one of the reasons that Clinton had bad approval ratings his first 2 years, is because he tried this big healthcare overhaul and it failed. And one of the reasons it failed is that Jim Cooper, who's a congressman from Nashville, was a Democrat who was running as a conservative Democrat for Senate in Tennessee, and he needed a way to kind of show that he was fiscally responsible, so he was on the committee that voted it down, that killed it, and then he ended up losing the Senate race anyway.
So, all that for naught.
Yeah.
For his end of it.
Yep.
Because I get that. To me,
I know Congressman Cooper, I respect him, but that's just the way it is.
I mean, it's the issue with the incentive game. I mean, that's the problem. And that is the problem with politics to me at large.
Yeah.
Is the incentive is not what it's designed, what it was originally designed. I don't even know if it's originally designed to be, but the incentive for the individual.
What was it originally designed to be?
I don't fucking know. That's my point. But the point being is that the incentive is not, it goes back to my Larson J quote and other stuff. It's like the incentive is not to do the right thing. It's to do the thing that gets you reelected, or the thing that gets you the next step in your process.
Yeah.
As an individual.
Like Larson.
And I can't fault people for that, because we all do it every day in some way or shape or form.
Yeah. But, I mean, at the end of the day, what's a better way to organize ourselves? That's a free market political system.
I don't know, and that's why I'm stuck getting pissed off all the time. All right, so tell me more about this whole state ways and means. Ways and means.
That I don't know if I can really talk about that right now.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm special. I get insider stuff.
Yeah.
All right, I didn't say that.
Maybe next episode.
We're gonna close on that. It's gonna be the final conversation. Sam, give us something. We got 10 minutes to kill. By the way, 2 hours, sucker.
You got me.
What we got? Some crazy shit.
Yeah, let's talk about national something. Come on, give me something national.
No, get something local. Stay local. Okay. You're up here with your local shit. Sam's generally pissed off because he gets more local from Reuters or AP than he does from Knox News or whatever.
Yeah, I know. Knox News. Another article: 5 things you didn't know about Jim Clayton's helicopter crash.
Come on, Sam, hit us hard.
I don't think I've read anything too crazy recently.
How about all the stuff with Hillsdale and Bill Lee and all that? You kept up on that?
Oh yeah.
Well,
yeah. I mean, I have thoughts on that, but go ahead, Sam.
No, we've talked about that a couple times.
We have.
As far as
the issue I have personally with
it
is, I'm not trying to condone or whatever. It's like to me, the issue is this. Yes, it is said out loud. But is there anybody that voted for Lee before that this really changed their mind? Is this
politically? I hope so, but I don't know.
But I'm just saying, as far as Lee ran.
Some suburban people probably.
Lee ran on vouchers. Like, he knew vouchers. Vouchers has always been a thing for him.
He wasn't big on vouchers. But see, Lee, nobody thought that Lee would win the primary. Everybody thought Randy Boyd would win the primary or Diane Black. I think that Lee won the primary because Randy Boyd and Diane Black just went after each other, got in the mud, fought each other, and then Lee kind of came through and just kind of unexpectedly won. I mean, he wasn't even super involved in politics before. He just owned a big HVAC company. I mean, he was a successful businessman. And so I think he only won because of political miscalculations by Randy Boyd and Diane Black. And so a lot of people didn't really even know that much about him. And what's interesting is that he came in with this big voucher push. And I don't know who was advising him, but whoever was didn't understand politics. His first big legislative push was for vouchers, and he barely got it passed because freaking Jason Zachary over here changed his vote at the last minute. You've got a super majority in the state house. Why would the first legislative item on your agenda be something that barely passes?
But my point is he passed it.
Barely.
Barely or not, he passed it. It was an agenda, he passed it, and at least I don't know. I certainly don't know the current state polling kind of.
It doesn't poll well even among Republicans. One of the reasons that they were able to get a number of Republicans to not vote for it is because there was polling showing from a Republican pollster showing it wasn't popular among Republicans. What did Randy Pace say on WBIR? Sorry, just pulled up his Facebook.
I didn't mean to. I'm sorry, Sam. It's totally. But my point is that this has been an action that Lee has been working on, and it doesn't seem.
Yeah, it was really politically dumb to do, but whatever.
Maybe. But
I'm not one of his staffers.
But it doesn't seem to be. To me, it doesn't seem to be. It's not a new animal.
Yeah.
And it doesn't seem that there's been any significant outcry from even this barely got through thing that was big enough that anybody.
Well, it only affected Davidson and Shelby. See, it was going to affect Knox County, but one of the deals apparently they made with Jason Zachary is it wouldn't affect Knox County.
Right, but I'm just saying is that it doesn't seem that it's one of those things that had become an instant major issue. Like, it wasn't one of those like this is it. This is the Watergate of Lee's governance.
Yeah.
Kind of deals. Mm-hmm. And so to me is that it wasn't new. This isn't a new ideal. Maybe saying teachers are dumb and they are taught by dumb people is a very...
Yeah, he didn't say that on his campaign website.
is a little bit more specific and down to the nose that maybe wasn't ever said. But this is not a new premise from Lee, and there hasn't been a strong call to get rid of him prior.
Yeah.
And so to me, it's like, I get it. And I get it on a political standpoint for Gloria Johnson or Sam McKenzie or any of those people that are running, or Amanda, is that this is a good issue to jump on board with, because this is something that they think and logically so that they think this is an issue that is something that voters actually give a shit about and they're going to push back on.
Yeah, but
they haven't pushed back on it yet. Prior to this,
who's they?
These voters hadn't.
Okay, as far as the elected officials have. I mean, I think the issue here is.
But no, I'm not. Hold on. But not in the sense that there wasn't a bunch of pushback on the. I don't recall hearing a bunch of outcry when the first version of the voucher stuff goes through.
It was a big deal.
But I don't remember hearing a bunch of local outcry about it. Like vouchers are the evil part of it that we hear now.
Well, you think they wrote about it in Knox News City?
That's fair enough.
No, I get that. See, I totally understand that. From my perspective, people like Gloria Johnson or Amanda or Sam McKenzie have been trying to get people to talk about this issue for a long time and see that this is
the jumping off.
This isn't the first time that Gloria's talked about charters, but this is the first time. Well, not the first time, but this is an opportunity where it's in the forefront of the public's mind, right. And the public has a very short attention span.
Right. It was poor timing for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, I think
and politically, it was terrible time for Republicans because it's 2 weeks before school board race.
What happened? What was the first thing I said to you when the leaked Supreme Court thing came out?
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure it was something along the lines of, are the Republicans trying to lose right now?
Exactly. Yeah, it was terrible timing.
Like it's like, and this goes to the local version.
And Will Edwards is pro Bill Lee's vouchers.
It doesn't matter what Bill Edwards thinks about it, whether he's elected or not.
Bill. I guess it could be Bill Edwards. Will Edwards.
See, that's what we were talking about earlier. Is like you have these weird names that have 55 nicknames.
Yeah.
But my point is and that's the thing that I get in a tiff with Brian about all the fucking time because he's fucking obnoxious about it. Is that it doesn't matter. It does not matter what Will Edwards thinks about vouchers.
Why?
Because it doesn't matter.
Why?
What can he do as a school board rep to do anything about vouchers?
He can vote to approve or not approve charters.
No, he can't.
Yeah, he can.
Not if the whole mess comes through because the other part of it is the state's going to take the level.
Well, that whole mess hasn't come through as it is right now. The local school board votes to approve or not approve.
Okay, but that's fine. So, but he can be okay with the idea.
And Will Edwards will vote to approve a charter school, and Cat Bike will not.
Okay, but a charter school and a voucher is a different animal. And
it's the same. I mean, it goes to the same thing. It's the same agenda.
Okay.
Agree or disagree with the agenda? It sprouts from the same agenda.
Okay, but at the end of the day, if the state allows vouchers and takes away charter schools, which is because right now, it doesn't matter what. Again, fine. Then in that matter, it doesn't matter what Will Edwards thinks about vouchers right now because they don't apply locally anyway. Because right now it's only Shelby and Davidson County.
Yeah, but historically, the Knox County School Board has been vocally against the privatization and voucher
until the last year.
And so, are we going to have a school board that vocally says we do not want this agenda? It's going to harm our schools, or do we want one who says, "Oh yeah, do it, go for it"?
But it goes back to my question because you were late, you didn't get to hear the answers to my question when we were at the school board forum. Is vouchers are happening?
I don't know.
How do you make whatever? If vouchers happen, how do you make Knox County schools a school of choice
that's a whole totally different conversation than who do we want to elect a school board?
Okay, but but not really because if vouchers come in while they're in how do you make it the choice? Well,
I want to stop vouchers before they even come in.
Okay,
that is my political prerogative.
But school board has no direct influence. At best, has indirect influence.
School board can vocally oppose them.
Sure, at best they have indirect influence on that through their lobbyists because they need to lobby to the state instead of directly. But whatever. Yeah. That's a whole separate stupidity thing, but...
well, I mean, any elected official has influence outside of just their portfolio of responsibilities.
And I think that's a problem. That's one of my big issues.
You don't think that they should comment on anything that's peripherally attached to what they're...
Any comment outside of what their job is should be taken as any individual saying the comment, not an elected official.
So if it's a school board member discussing educational policy on a state level that will influence local school boards on which they serve, you think that's not appropriate?
No, I don't.
Well, then I just disagree with you.
Okay, because I don't see other than as an individual who is like again with the Mike Edwards thing, it's a District 4, which means it's a District 18 in the state. Other than an individual that is in District 18 voicing their opinion on it, it shouldn't be taken any stronger or than me saying it because I'm in the same position.
I think that someone in an elected position overseeing local educational policy, voicing their opinion on something as it relates to state policy that affects local educational policy, should be taken more seriously than just
me as a parent that has a kid in the system that has to deal with the shit that comes out of this. Their opinion is more important than mine.
I'm not saying it's more important. I'm saying it should
be heard.
More influence.
Oh, okay. So it's more important. I mean, how is that? What? Yes. So it's more important than mine. How is that any different? Like that is semantics at best.
I'm saying that it will be heard more than your voice. Okay. And so, who do you want in that position? Someone who is going to oppose what you believe is harmful to yours.
We need to elect people.
Well, hey. Then your voice on the state level is also heard in who you elect for your school board representative. If
okay.
Tennesseans elected a bunch of anti-voucher school board representatives, you don't think that'd be heard in Nashville?
So you think? Well, let's say
that's how politics works.
Let's say Elaine Davis wins 18.
Speaking of people talking about nothing in their foray, I saw she said she was going to stop illegal immigration.
Elaine Davis. So Elaine Davis wins 18. You are telling me that Elaine Davis is going to react to the idea that Cat Bike won 4. That matters to her in that seat. That's what you're saying right now. Is that if Elaine Davis wins 18 and she goes, well, Cat Pike won 4, so I've got to be very careful about this voucher conversation.
I think that the effects of who people elect and what their views are on every level of government affect the next layer of level of government.
Only when it's direct, or even, but apparently, you were making fun of you and I were making fun of Mayor Jacobs. We're talking about gas prices.
Yeah, that has nothing to do with
his
day-to-day job. On the school board, it has everything to do with your day-to-day job about state educational policy.
So it's only
state educational policy as it affects school board representatives is totally different than what Jacobs talking about.
So the premise is only when it's only one level up.
No, I'm just saying
you can't skip levels. You got to stay within.
No, you were thinking about this too formulaic, like a formula. I am saying that if you are in an elected position that oversees local educational policy, it is definitely within your wheelhouse to lobby, to talk about, and to state your opinion on state-level educational policy that affects your job representing individuals on the local educational policy standpoint. Right.
Just like I, as a parent, can lobby and do all the different things that you just listed off.
Yeah. And it will not. And it will not. You run your mouth about state educational policy.
So my representatives don't represent me.
No. Okay.
At large.
You run your mouth about state educational policy about whatever you want to, versus Virginia Bab doing it. Who's going to be heard more? Virginia Bab.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you.
So why not elect someone to Virginia Bab's position that reflects your own views?
Because I'd rather elect somebody who is doing the job that Virginia Bab is doing to do the actual job that she's doing.
That's part of the job.
So part of the job is to lobby up.
Yes.
Okay.
Maybe we disagree on that.
I'm going to have to think about that.
Part of the job is to... Yeah, I think you're right. Part of the job is to lobby up.
Okay, so then you agree that Mayor Jacobs talking about gas prices makes sense.
That's not lobbying up. He's just
he's politically
okay.
Political. I can't catch the word. Politicking is uphill because.
But what is he doing to lobby to change that?
He's trying to get Republicans elected locally because that's going to affect the Republicans at the state level, who are going to affect the Republicans at the national level, who are going to push Biden to do what needs to be done correctly. He's
running his mouth about some guy who won the lottery who's donating money to people.
Okay, that's fine, and that is his version of politicking up.
It's his right to do that. I just think it's stupid.
I think it's stupid on all levels, and it doesn't matter if it's directly, indirectly, whatever. It's like you're supposed to.
Yeah, but I think that you think about politics in a very formulaic, linear idea, and that's just not how it works. I'm not okay. Just because it's not how it works, and I'm not okay with how it works. I'm pretty sure I've been clear on that many times. Okay. I'm not okay with how it works. I think we need. I think, and I think you agree with me on this one. I think that we, as a populace, should give a shit ton more about who our school board rep is, than who Marsha Blackburn is. I think if we went, I think you care about it in different ways, but yeah. I think if we went and knocked doors, I think more people. I mean, you've got more control over who your school board rep is than your senator is. It's late in the evening. It'd be really weird if we did it right now. But if we went around my neighborhood and started knocking doors and said, "Who's your school board rep right now?" and "Who's the Speaker of the House?" I'll bet you they would. Yeah, I'll bet you they would know Nancy Pelosi before they knew Virginia Bab. Yeah. And what's interesting is they could personally, like if they wanted to, they could personally know Virginia Bab. Yeah. And that's a problem, and that's my problem with it. And the Virginia Babs, not that Virginia does it very much, but the Virginia Babs talking about Nancy Pelosi
is a distraction from what Virginia Badge is supposed to be doing.
Well, Virginia Badge hasn't talked about Nancy Pelosi.
I'm not saying she has, but I'm
okay.
saying as far as the
Virginia Badge
comparative
of the
level.
world,
Right.
talking about Nancy Pelosi.
Right. The comparative level is a distraction. And just like I agree with you that Mary Jacobs talking about shit that doesn't matter
I agree. Yeah,
is
I
the thing.
But you and I would quibble about what is within your wheelhouse and what's not. My wife is calling me, by the way, so I should probably go home soon.
Ooh, put it on speaker.
No.
Come on. Put it on speaker. We're almost done. Tell her we're finishing up soon.
All right. I'm saying ending now.
Okay. Sam, last call, buddy.
No, thank you.
You want to do the outro for me?
Oh, I thought that's what you were asking me about.
No, I was just saying any last thing that we can stick Matt on before he runs out the front door.
I'll have another Florida man.
He has his own good joke, buddy. Nice. He's got his own name tag on. He brought a name tag.
It came from a fundraiser.
In case I forgot.
In case you forgot, yeah.
All right, so real quick, just to hold him on just for a second, just to get him in trouble with the wife. Randy Pace commented on the WBAR 10 article. The East Tennessee Lions Eye Bank executive director made $445,000 in 2019, or roughly $1 in every $5 the nonprofit earned. At least 2 former board members say that they were voted off for raising questions. Our 10 Investigates team digs deeper. Randy says there are 4,094 registered 501c organizations in Knox County alone. The Alliance for Better Nonprofits has a long way to go if they think they're going to make them better. Nearly $14 billion in assets, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. The hook failed. Matt's leaving. You want to say goodbye at least?
Bye, everybody. Go to KnoxvilleDemocrats.org for more information.
I'll be adding that out
on the show.
Sam, I love you, buddy. Have a good night. I'll talk to you tomorrow.
Okay, bye, guys.
Almost in agreement, everybody. Rowdy's getting in on it. Matt thought he was going to get out here an hour. Sucker. Almost in agreement at gmail.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Go to our website, almostinagreement.com. Check out my Voter Guide 22. It's as good as I could put together in the time I had. Yeah, that's all I got. I don't have anything on the schedule right now. Check out the Compass Points podcast. I've been working harder for those guys. They, like, as Matt agrees with me, they have the best election coverage in town. So check them out for that. All their stuff's outside the paywall right now. So you can go to CompassKnox.com and get a bunch of free election coverage there if you want it. So anyway, almost agreement, everybody. Thanks for listening. We'll talk to you later.